Chapter 1835. How could this be? In Royal City, in the Immortal Clan's official residence, an earth-shaking roar exploded. It was as if the great Tao of heaven and earth was rumbling, causing all the Immortal Clan cultivators in the official residence to tremble. Some of them coughed up blood and felt dizzy. My clan's prodigy from the fairy cave has the blood of the Emperor flowing in him. Why couldn't we kill him? Why? Immortal Mo went crazy, crying out miserably, truly about to explode from anger. Immortal Feather and now Immortal Scenery, even though their cultivation realms weren't high, they were still the clan's precious seeds, yet they were crippled just like that. Even Immortal Scenery might be training himself, and might have a chance to enter the core of the fairy cave. Immortal Mo's killing intent spread out. If he had known this would happen, he would have crippled Su Yen in the Immortal Gate. Even if the Protector would be unhappy, it was better than Immortal Scenery dying. Although the Xian people still had many prodigies, only a few were stronger than Immortal Scenery. Moreover, they were all hibernating in the core of the fairy cave and could not be awakened easily. Suddenly, Immortal Mo trembled and coughed up blood. His hair was disheveled, and his eyes were filled with ferocity. He had confirmed that Su Yen was infinitely close to Daesung's potential. Perhaps he had a chance to do it in the future. Once he did, he would be an invincible prodigy. Once this happened, Su Yen would be directly absorbed by the fairy cave. Even with his current potential, he was qualified to be absorbed by the fairy cave. Elder, King Heroic Marshal was about to go crazy, and Immortal Mo was coughing up blood. Bastard, Immortal Mo let out a beast-like roar. Shame, he lost the 5-element ring, and even 10,000 pounds of Immortal Source, which gave Su Yen the capital to continue growing. Shame. Of course, he didn't care about all this. What he really cared about was that Su Yen was qualified to enter the core area of the Immortal Cave in the future. The Xian people didn't have the final say in the immortal world. The heroic martial king knocked his head on the ground and roared madly, "Elder, please calm down. Give me some time, I must kill Su Yen, even if I have to pay with my life, I must kill Su Yen, kill him." The veins on the heroic martial king's forehead bulged. He hated Su Yen to the extreme as well. Now that Xian Jing had died, threatening the dignity of the Emperor clans, he had no choice but to take revenge. The cultivators who passed by the official residence of the Xian people were all terrified. The entire official residence was trembling and rumbling, and the murderous aura filled the air. One could imagine how angry the Xian people were. Immortal Scenery died, killed. The geniuses of the monarch races, the geniuses of the Immortals Cave, were killed just like that. What are you waiting for? Su Yan's words were like thunder, ringing out on the arena. Every syllable was surrounded by the order of slaughter. It was as if they had turned into killing swords that were about to strike down and kill Xingtian Shan. Starry Night felt a chill run down her spine, and her hair stood on end. No matter how proud and arrogant she was, no matter how noble her status was, at this moment, Starry Night's heart was filled with terror. She was an expert on the same level as Xian Jing, but Xian Jing had already been beaten to death, dying on the arena. The final scene wasn't seen clearly by the people of the world. They only saw the bloody light that filled the sky. Starry Night was both shocked and frightened. Why was this person so powerful? Soon, she felt suffocated. The figure on the arena was strolling, step by step. With each step, the arena would emit thunderous sounds. Bzzz. All the pores on Su Yan's body gushed with divine light, powerful and terrifying, illuminating the surroundings and illuminating the heavens. He was powerful to the extreme. Su Yan's body flowed with fluctuations that made one's heart tremble. He was currently descending, sweeping towards Starry Night. Starry Night felt suffocated. She didn't even dare to look directly at the terrifying figure on the arena. At this moment, Su Yen had transformed into an invincible Saint King. His aura could devour rivers and mountains, and his invincible will spread out, erupting on the arena. Xiongba was shocked. This person's will was too extraordinary. The more he fought, the stronger he became. Who was the one who nurtured him? No. Starry Night shook her head with difficulty. She felt that Su Yen was about to rush down and kill her. Young miss, let's go. Two old men with gloomy expressions walked out from behind Starry Night. They quickly brought Starry Night away. She escaped. The surrounding people were in an uproar. Starry Night had escaped. The Starry Night who was so arrogant just now, challenging the Protector's granddaughter, had directly escaped. What was this? Why did she escape? Weren't you very impressive just now? Why are you running now? Tai Baokai howled. This self-proclaimed noble Starry Night was now fleeing in a sorry state. For a moment, an even more intense uproar erupted here. Fairy Zixia sneered. If she didn't escape, would she stay and be humiliated? This shameless woman had really thrown away the face of the Emperor clan. She had directly escaped. In short, the impact of destroying the immortal scene was too great. Starry Night didn't dare to fight with Su Yen at all. Damn it, Starry Night, who had already escaped far away, let out a shrill cry. Someone will come to kill you. Just you wait. Starry Night was ashamed and angry. In front of so many strong people in the royal city, she had fled. If this spread, the Starry Sky Emperor clan would lose face. Young miss, this child is too strong. You can't provoke him easily. The two old servants beside her had dignified expressions. Could the peerless genius of the human world be compared to the strongest genius of the burial cave? If it was true, this person was extraordinary. The future potential was too great. He is strong, but our Starry Sky Emperor clan also has an invincible young supreme who killed the strongest genius of the immortal cave. Starry Night's cold and noble cheeks were filled with madness. Her eyes shot out murderous light one after another. She said angrily, I will return to the immortal cave and ask him to come out of seclusion to kill this child. One of the old servants smiled bitterly. Which one was invincible? But he was a Daesong Peak expert. He had been in the immortal cave for a long time and had participated in the immortal devil battlefield several times. Although Starry Night's prestige in the Emperor clan was very high, she was not qualified to meet the strongest young supreme of the Starry Sky Emperor clan. Moreover, no one would lower themselves to kill Su Yen, who was not famous. Young miss, I think we should let Lord Tenrai of Beach do it. The other old servant was loyal. He said, You have suffered such a big loss. Tenrai of Beach will definitely do it. With his identity and status, crushing Su Yen is as easy as crushing an ant. The old servant smiled bitterly. Who was the Tenrai of Beach? He was a peerless genius of the immortal cave. Although his name was not as terrifying as the young war god of the Starry Sky Emperor clan, Tenrai of Beach was also one of the most dazzling peerless geniuses of this universe era. Tenrai of Beach was even Starry Night's fiancé. If the Tenrai of Beach knew that Starry Night was humiliated, he would definitely stand up for her. Immediately take my message talisman to the immortal cave. You must kill Su Yen before he is noticed by the immortal cave. You must not give him the chance to enter the immortal cave. Starry Night's silver eyes were filled with murderous intent. She could not take this lying down. She would not be appeased until she killed Su Yen. Elder of the Immortal Desert, thank you for your gift. A loud and clear voice exploded from the King City, rushing straight to the Xian people's residence. Immediately, the residence was filled with murderous aura, and all kinds of low roars could be heard. In short, the experts of the Xian people in the King City were about to go crazy. Xian Jing was dead, the 5-element ring was lost, and the 5,000 kilograms of immortal source was in Su Yan's hands. Let's see how long you can be arrogant for. Starry Night was so angry that she was trembling. Although the King City was very far from the immortal cave, with her message talisman, the journey would be smooth and unimpeded. She could reach him in a short time. Su Yen walked down the arena. Under the gazes of tens of thousands of people, the group left. The Qianquan elders looked at Su Yen for a while, but did not follow them. Before they left, they told Su Yen that they could cultivate in the Elder Courtyard for a few days and wait for the coronation battlefield to open. Baokai heaved a sigh of relief. It was inevitable that the two old dragons would feel uncomfortable around him. I wanted to keep a low profile for a while, but I didn't expect to cause such a big disturbance. The Xian people won't let this go. We have to be careful these days, Su Yen said in a low voice. The coronation battle would begin in a few months. He was already at the peak of the 8th heaven of the Saint Realm. It wouldn't be difficult for him to reach the peak of the Saint Realm before the battle began. East Demon nodded. After all, their identities were a little sensitive. They came from the human world. Who knew if they had any enemies? I think the Xian people will definitely attack us in the coronation battlefield, Baokai said fiercely. We'll kill as many as they come. When we're all kings, they won't dare to attack us. At this moment, they had arrived at a large restaurant. Mu Xian was very generous and directly booked the entire floor. Fairy is so bright. Baokai grinned. He couldn't wait to taste the delicacies of the immortal world. Baokai ordered hundreds of dishes in one go. Baokai, can you finish it? Bamboo Moon said helplessly. The dishes in this restaurant were quite precious. Ordinary dishes were fine, but rare dishes easily cost dozens of pounds of immortal sources. It's okay. Tycoons are treating. Baokai grinned. Su Yen had won 5,000 pounds of immortal sources. If he didn't take the opportunity to take advantage of it, when would he? It's okay. Just order whatever you want. Mu Xian's cheeks bloomed with a smile. This restaurant belongs to our family. Just order whatever you want. No immortal sources. Su Yan's face twitched. 5,000 pounds of immortal sources was a huge fortune for ordinary people, but it was nothing for Mu Xian. Soon, the table was filled with delicious dishes. Many of the ingredients were cooked with emperor-level beasts. They were very expensive. Just smelling them would make one feel refreshed. Let's have a toast. I wish you all a smooth journey in the immortal world. I wish you all can become peak experts and have a chance to join the immortal cave. Mu Xian raised her wine cup and smiled. She was also very happy to meet Su Yen and the others. Su Yen had no interest in joining the immortal cave. After all, once he entered the immortal cave, his fate would not be under his control. Although it was glorious, he would have to sleep in the immortal cave for life. He would lose the hope of becoming an expert. They raised their cups and drank together. The scene became lively. The Grand Saintess was a little restrained at first, but she suddenly felt that she was a native in the immortal world. She sighed and raised her cup frequently. She mingled with Zixia Fairy and whispered to her. Actually, you don't have to worry about the coronation battlefield. Mu Xian's cheeks were flushed. She smiled brightly and sweetly. Every time the coronation battlefield opens, there will be at least a dozen participants. They will enter the battlefield randomly to prevent groups from forming groups. I see. Bamboo Moon breathed a sigh of relief. Then she smiled and asked, how do you decide the winner of the coronation battle? There will be a lot of participants. Of course there will be a lot. This time is no small matter. Mu Xian nodded. Usually it won't be life-threatening. You will know the rules when the time comes. If you want to win, you have to get enough points. The winner is king. Moreover, the rewards of the coronation battle are amazing. Mu Xian continued. If you rank in the top 3 of the battlefield, you will get a lot of benefits. You will enter the coronation battlefield and receive the baptism of creation. There is an opportunity to become a Daesong. Su Yen was moved. There was also the substance of creation to become a Daesong. This was very important. Moreover, Daesong and saints were not in the same battlefield. They did not need to worry about being suppressed by higher realms. That's good. I didn't expect that the coronation battlefield would have an opportunity to become a Daesong. Baokai was excited. East Demon and the others laughed heartily. After all, they had obtained a lot of top-notch resources from the coronation battlefield. They would be of great help to the Daesong in the future. Mu Xian did not discourage them. Once the coronation battlefield opened, countless geniuses would participate. It would be too difficult for East Demon and the others to compete for first place. There was not much hope. Su Yan's strength was undeniable. It would not be difficult for him to enter the coronation battlefield. Come, let's have another toast. Su Yan laughed heartily. It had been a wonderful day. Chapter 1836. Night fell, King City. The atmosphere was grand and majestic. The city filled the ancient universe. The sun, moon, and stars hung in the sky. This city was too big. When night fell, King City shone brightly. Endless moonlight and starlight flowed down, one after another. They scattered all over King City, forming a miraculous scene of the Milky Way falling from the 9 heavens. The entire city was quiet. There was no noise. In the silent night, the sky was full of stars. It was an exotic scene. One had to admit that King City's night scene was very beautiful. The entire city flowed with the light of the Milky Way, absorbing a huge amount of immortal qi. Su Yan tilted his head and looked at the night sky outside the window. It had been almost a day and a night in the immortal world. His mind gradually calmed down. He had experienced too many things today. Fortunately, he met Mu Xian. Otherwise, it would have been more difficult. Baokai drank until he was dead drunk. His belly was bulging. He had eaten too many good things. The essence qi in his body was so strong that it could not be dispersed. It was like a big furnace spewing out auspicious clouds. They talked freely about their experiences over the years. Although Mu Xian had never left King City, she was very knowledgeable. She told Su Yan and the others many interesting things about the immortal world. There were no disputes or wars. It was very quiet. The first day in the immortal world was an extremely comfortable night. When it was almost dawn, they got up and left. They were all drunk and did not use magic power to suppress the alcohol. The group walked on the street toward the Elder's compound. The Elder's compound of Imperial City was the core of Imperial City. There were very few cultivators who were qualified to enter the Elder's compound, especially Saint Realm cultivators like Su Yan. Usually, only nobles were qualified to enter the Elder compound. Su Yan's black hair and clothes fluttered. He had a gentle smile on his face. It was hard to imagine that he was the fierce person who killed Immortal World yesterday. He walked on the street step by step. Gradually, the smile on Su Yan's face disappeared. It was replaced by a touch of coldness. With every step he took, the sound of his footsteps became heavier and heavier. Su Yan's eyes flashed with lightning, and a pitch-black halberd appeared in his hand. He grabbed the Heavenard halberd with a single hand, turning into an exceptional war immortal. He was suffused with Dali's might, able to easily shatter the void. A storm is coming. Su Yan sensed danger approaching. He had slaughtered his way through the strongest smelting trial grounds, so he was already accustomed to danger. The alcohol in his mind instantly dissipated completely. His figure was a little tall, and his aura was a little oppressive. He was like a fiend god overlord that had been suppressed in purgatory, and he could use his most terrifying combat strength at any time. What happened? Mu Xian and the others were flabbergasted. Su Yan seemed as if he'd become a completely different person, and he was like a terrifying fiend god that walked through the mortal world. His black hair fluttered, and his essence, energy, and spirit seemed as if it would pierce through the heavens and pierce through the sky. Boom! All of a sudden, the entire street became extremely cold. The street was large, dozens of miles wide and hundreds of miles long. But now, the entire street darkened, as if the gates of hell had been opened, and it began to swallow Su Yan. Be careful! Mu Xian's large eyes widened in anger. This was King City, so who dared to kill or use force here? But this truly happened. Some terrifying leader had secretly attacked, erupting with a monstrous killing intent. This invisible substance began to ripple, finally surging towards Su Yan's spiritual sea. Su Yan's expression didn't change. He grasped the Heavenart halberd in one hand and the five-element ring in the other. As he allowed this soul-killing intent to attack him, Su Yan didn't panic or panic. In truth, this soul-killing intent was far too boundless, suppressing East Demon and the others to the point of suffocating, their hands and feet turning cold. There must be some unfathomably deep powerhouse secretly attacking them. However, as all of this approached Su Yan's spiritual sea, it directly exploded, disintegrating into ashes. Within Su Yan's spiritual sea, there was a 9-inch tall pagoda guarding it. It was tyrannical to the extreme, and towards any invading strength, it directly exploded into pieces. What? This kid has a primordial spirit, supreme treasure protecting his primordial spirit. A huge silhouette appeared in the darkness, accompanied by a monstrous killing intent. This was an Emperor Realm powerhouse, and as he circulated his Emperor Realm combat power, it covered the sky and covered the earth. Boom! Time and space were annihilated inch by inch, and an unparalleled power poured out. The entire area where Su Yan was evaporated, turning into a huge black hole. Su Yan, Bao Kai and the others roared. An Emperor Realm powerhouse attacked without restraint, using force in King City. In fact, it wasn't just a single Emperor Realm expert. One after another, terrifying figures appeared in the darkness. Every single one of them was surging with killing intent. The blood and chi in the top of their heads were exuberant, and they reached the peak of the sky. They were like a sea of stars that surged violently. The appearance of 5 powerhouses in succession shook a corner of King City. Many powerhouses in the city woke up, and their expressions changed. Killing at night was a great taboo. Who was attacking? In the direction of the source, nothing could be seen clearly. Everything was blurry. The 5 powerhouses joined forces to kill Su Yan. One could imagine how powerful this was. The entire street rippled with Emperor Realm law, and it evolved into azure dragons, Kuan-Pungs, Chilants, ancient giant beasts. Open! Su Yan roared into the sky, and his aura soared to the extreme. He held the world-destroying halberd with one arm, and divine rings rose behind his head one after another. Each divine ring was extremely majestic. This was the 5 element rings reviving, and they surged with the vast grand Tao of the 5 elements. Moreover, every single divine ring corresponded to a supreme grand Tao. At the instant the 5 great divine rings burned, they were like 5 great suns that soared through the sky and shone upon each other. B***starred, this kid refined the 5 element rings. The 5 powerhouses who attacked had gloomy expressions. This was the 5 element rings, a forbidden treasure. Even a single divine ring could block an Emperor Realm attack. The 5 divine rings filled the sky, and they were filled with the power to split the heavens and earth. They turned into 5 universes, and they continuously vibrated with light, attacking the 5 Emperor Realm powerhouses to block their shocking power. Just as the 5 Imperial Realm experts were being intercepted, the 5 Imperial Realm experts were being intercepted, vaguely. A huge hand stretched down from the top of the sky. It was terrifying beyond compare, and it forcefully bombarded the 5 divine rings, causing them to sway. This huge hand was simply opening up the chaos and opening up the universe. It suppressed the 5 divine rings and pressed down on Su Yan. B***starred. Su Yan was furious. He was only qualified to revive the power of the 5 element rings now, and he couldn't combine the 5 divine rings into one. Once combined, it would become a forbidden treasure, and it would be extremely powerful. Roar! In a corner of King City, killing intent surged, illuminating the night sky. At this moment, roars exploded, and powerhouses with terrifying auras passed by one after another. Together, they were like a flood that could destroy the world. A group of powerful soldiers rushed out. The lineup was huge, and their auras were even more turbulent. These were the spellcasters of the city. Dozens of them came, and they were led by an Emperor Realm powerhouse. You're courting death. In the Elder's compound, an ancient force was suddenly unleashed. A terrifying claw emitting an endless murderous aura appeared. It was unknown how many living beings it had slaughtered in the past. It instantly pierced through the universe and slammed toward the large hand that was pressing down on Su Yan. The huge hand shook a few times, leaving behind a pool of blood. The sky also collapsed. In such a terrifying battle, it was obvious that the Dark Knight Killer was no match for it. His body split open the space-time and evaporated. "Where do you think you're going?" In the Elder's compound, an ancient giant bear soared up. Its roar shook the sea of stars, and its murderous aura was endless. This was Xiongba's awakening. It rushed into the space-time outside the realm, following the retreating aura of the huge hand, and started a crazy pursuit. The huge axe on its back had already exploded, and 2 blood-red lightning bolts could be seen even from a distance. Su Yan's face was cold. He waved his hand and took away the 5-element ring. His expression was cold. The 5 emperors were not their real bodies, but only the incarnations of powerhouses. They exploded one by one, not giving the enforcers a chance to suppress them. Damn it, who's using force? This lawless thing must be strictly investigated. The enforcers' faces were extremely ugly. Who was so bold? This was King City, and such a thing might not happen even in 10,000 years. Seeing that Su Yan was unharmed, their expressions eased. If they were killed, they would have sinned greatly. What, Miss Mu Xian is here too? When the enforcers saw Mu Xian, their faces became even gloomier. One of them crushed a token and quickly dispatched the King City's enforcers to help immediately to prevent the villain from launching a second attack. Xian people, Reincarnation Emperor Tribe, Starry Sky Tribe? A cold light shot out from Su Yan's eyes. Who was it that dared to use force in Royal City? They couldn't wait to get rid of him. Bao Kai and the others' faces were ugly. Their good mood was completely destroyed. The sky was almost bright and Xiongba returned. He cursed along the way. The enemy was well prepared and escaped quickly. They didn't find any clues. Xiongba arranged for Su Yan and the others to stay in the Elder's compound. On top of an ancient giant mountain, he let them find a place to rest. The Grand Saintess was shocked. At first, she thought it was an ordinary place, but who knew that the immemorial mountain's evaporated immortal aura was too dense, and even contained the fluctuation of a mortal source? What's going on? Su Yan frowned. The Elder's compound was very big. It was an independent small world. Inside, there were sounds of intense quarrels. Mu Xian still had a lingering fear in her heart as she explained to Su Yan, "This is a place that only Emperor Realm experts have the qualifications to cultivate. The secret cultivation rooms of this giant mountain are all built with immortal origins as the foundation. A large amount of resources are consumed every day." Bao Kai and the others were shocked. This was too much. Was this a blessing in disguise? One had to know that this kind of cultivation Holy Land was limited even in King City. Xiongba and the 2 elders of the Xian people quarreled. He suspected that the person who attacked just now was from the Xian people. Unfortunately, he didn't have any evidence. "If you have the ability, go and sue me." Humph, Su Yan and the others almost died in King City. If this spread out, you will all be in trouble. You can't even manage a city. It's reasonable to give them some treatment to appease their hurt hearts. Xiongba's face was cold. He was thinking about how to give Su Yan and the others some benefit. The King City's murderous knight found an excuse to give them the best treatment. Xiongba already knew some things about Su Yan and the others. The peerless race's beast King Dao body had been killed. They were even qualified to participate in the immortal demon battlefield. Su Yan had to be protected and given the strongest paradise to further his cultivation. The 2 elders of the Xian people almost spat out blood. Appease their hurt hearts? They had clearly seen that Su Yan was in control of the 5-element ring. The danger just now posed no threat to their lives. Chapter 1837. The divine mountain was huge, with flowing springs and waterfalls, and auspicious clouds. This mountain was surrounded by vast immortal essence energy. Walking on the mountain, one's body automatically breathed in the immortal essence energy, and they were constantly being baptized. Baokai and the others were excited. This mountain only had 10 secret rooms, and they could choose any one of them. Every secret room had immortal essence energy leaking out. Su Yan was moved. Of course, immortal essence energy wasn't endless. But even if it leaked out constantly, it would be of great help to one's cultivation. Looks like we'll have to stay here in seclusion for the next few days. Su Yan smiled. East Demon and the others' cultivation wasn't high. With the help of this paradise, they would have new breakthroughs before the King Bestowment battle. These secret rooms have another effect. Mu Xian smiled happily. Space-time flow. Space-time flow? East Demon and the others were shocked. They were saints now, and they were extremely powerful. Ordinary space-time rooms wouldn't have any effect on them. After all, the stronger one was, the greater the influence one had on the environment. But the space-time flow of King City's core cultivation area was extraordinary. It had a certain effect even on sovereigns, let alone Su Yan and the others. At the very least, they would have 1 or 2 more years of cultivation time. This made Fairy Xia and the others very happy. Xiongba really took good care of them. In 1 or 2 years, I'm confident I can step into the 7th heaven of Saint Realm. East Demon muttered in his heart, seriously calculating. Su Yan secretly gave them a large amount of immortal essence. He had won 5,000 gene of immortal essence. This was a huge fortune. Now that the King Bestowment battle was about to begin, East Demon needed these resources more than himself. Especially Bamboo Moon. She had obtained a great opportunity, but she had just broken through to the Saint Realm. Although she was at the 3rd heaven, her cultivation was still too weak. If she encountered a peak Saint Realm expert, she would be in danger. With the help of these resources and the space-time flow secret rooms, she would be able to buy a lot of time, and her strength would also be greatly improved. We're really lucky. Starry Night's expression was unsightly. Currently, the Imperial City was in constant turmoil. Someone had killed people in the dark, and such a huge commotion had caused the Imperial City to be under martial law. Many people suspected that it was the Xian people who did it. For a time, the reputation of the Xian people in King City was stained. The Xian people were also complaining. This had nothing to do with them. They were the scapegoats for no reason, and there was nothing they could do about it. After all, the Xian people had always had a strong foundation in King City. They knew very well that killing people in King City in the middle of the night was an extremely stupid move. Young miss, you can't move around anymore. It's hard to avoid being exposed. After all, this is Monarch City. Once some clues are found, it's not a small matter. The 2 old servants cried bitterly. On Starry Night, Xiao Luo had used the power of their lineage to kill Su Yan. She was too impatient to wait and wanted to see Su Yan's corpse. She didn't expect that she would fail and almost let Xiongba track down the traces of the elders behind her. The message talisman is already on the way. Even if the Tenrai of Beach can't come here personally, it's enough to send a strong force to kill Su Yan. You should wait for a few days. The 2 old servants knew Starry Night's temper very well. They tried to persuade her again and again. Starry Night waved her hand impatiently and said, I know. Let's wait. I want to see how tough his life is. Inside King City, there were undercurrents. The coronation battle would start in 3 months, and it had already been announced to the world. In the next few days, a large number of strong people would gather in King City to participate in the coronation battle. The giant mountain where Su Yan and the others were at spat out a huge amount of energy every day. Su Yan sat cross-legged in the private room, absorbing the immortal spiritual energy within the secret technique. He wasn't in a rush to break through with the help of the immortal source, calmly deducing what he had learned. In the battle of the strongest land of refinement, Su Yan had activated the Daesong projection's strength. Now, he was preparing to study a series of divine abilities and secret techniques again, striving to display the greatest power. 1. All of his pores relaxed, absorbing immortal spiritual energy. Su Yan's body was like a bottomless pit. The amount of energy it released was especially shocking as well, absorbing endless essence energy to cleanse his flesh. Even his primordial spirit was sparkling brilliantly. It really was a cultivation holy land, able to satisfy all of Su Yan's needs. He completely calmed down, visualizing all types of divine abilities and secret techniques, sensing the greater environment of the celestial realm, gradually entering a state of cultivation. Time flew by. They had already stayed in the secret technique for half a year. In reality, only a month had passed in the outside world. During this month, many new faces had come to King City, many people secretly investigating everything about Su Yan. The matter of him killing Xian Jing was too big, already spreading out. Many people had never heard of the human realm before, and had no concept of it at all. Ao on the sealed giant mountain, screams like that of a pig being slaughtered would occasionally ring out, as well as sinister laughter. Ba Xiong, I'm about to die. Baokai roared and screamed. He wanted to escape, not willing to suffer. During these days, Xiong Ba had been training it like a madman, and Long Daesong was no exception. After all, it was a giant bear, and would definitely take care of these two Daesong beasts. If they had the bloodline of a giant bear, Xiong Ba would even want to take them as disciples. Xiong Ba was extremely shocked. This group of prodigies from the human realm was not simple at all, each more ferocious than the last. It was clear that they had received guidance from an expert. This is an ancient ultimate art, ridiculously powerful. If you learn it, it will guarantee that you can move unhindered through the land of kings. Xiong Ba reprimanded sternly, setting up a sky full of killing formations, producing a scene of 10,000 beasts descending. The impact was so great that Baotsai's spirit and will were about to collapse. After all, what kind of expert was Xiong Ba? The world of killing it displayed was not something that could be easily broken out of. In order to train Baokai and Long Daesong, Xiong Ba had paid a considerable price. Of course, it also had its own selfish motive. It hoped that Baokai and Long Daesong could stay in King City in the future, becoming pillars of the guardian bloodline. Daesong, this little thing is a monster. Why can't I be a dragon? That way, I can also smoothly become a great disciple. Xiong Ba was astonished. Long Daesong's foundation could be said to be ridiculously strong. Even he felt that it was comparable to Su Yan's. Although its cultivation level was not high, once the 9 dragons wrapped around its body, it was practically like the reincarnation of an ancestral dragon king. Master, you already have a great disciple. A large dark-faced man's face almost collapsed. His figure was about the same size as Xiong Ba, and he also came from the ancient giant bear bloodline. He was Xiong Ba's great disciple. Xiong Li was very envious of Baokai and the others. They had received many of Xiong Ba's true teachings, and were completely treated as direct disciples. Xiong Li had even given them a certain amount of resources. It had to be known that Xiong Ba's disciples did not receive any help from resources when they stepped into the Saint realm. They had completely relied on themselves. Stinking brat, can't you give me some face? Xiong Ba reprimanded. You've just become a battle king, and you've already lost all my face. Baotsai's cultivation level is not high, but his potential surpasses yours. Also, your senior brother Kong Xing said that they killed many geniuses of the dark world in the outer world battlefield. Xiong Li laughed. Although Xiong Ba was reprimanding him, there was still pride on his face. After all, Xiong Ba was a battle king of a generation. As the most outstanding disciple of Xiong Ba, Xiong Li's achievements were already very high. Xiong Ba's following words caused Xiong Li's heart to tremble. Killing geniuses of the dark world? Although the number of darkness creatures killed was relatively small, but to have killed so many geniuses of the dark world, he might really have the qualifications to be conferred the title of Battle King. Master, we've investigated the matter regarding the immortal Martial King, Xiongli said in a low voice. According to my investigation, the one he used in the first battlefield wasn't his true body. It was just a blood essence clone. Xiongba's eyes flashed with an ominous light as flames of anger rose in his heart. He coldly said, "What guts? The immortal Martial King is courting death. Go now and gather some people to suppress the clone of the immortal Martial King. Remember, don't alert the others." The matter of the 5-element ring bet made Su Yen feel that the immortal Martial King was being crafty. Who would have thought that the truth would really be revealed? This was a crime punishable by death. "Yes, master." Xiongli smiled fiercely. "Just you wait and see. When he leaves the camp, I'll find many ways to suppress him and bring him back. I'd like to see if the immortals still have the face to order us around in Royal City this time." Xiongba laughed uproariously. In the royal capital, the Xian people had always been fighting against the Dao protectors. If they had irrefutable evidence of the immortal Martial King fleeing from the battlefield, it would be a heavy blow to the Xian people's reputation. After all, the immortal Martial King wasn't an ordinary character. Although he wasn't the War King, his reputation wasn't inferior to the War King. Time slowly flowed by, and another few months went by in the secret chamber Su Yen was in. A terrifying devouring energy suddenly gushed forth. Su Yan's body blazed with light, and he seemed to have returned to the void. He also seemed to have transformed into a 10-colored heavenly embryo, sitting in the middle of the secret chamber. Unknowingly, the third level of the body-nurturing art in his sea of consciousness was unlocked. Su Yen felt that the world had changed. It was as though he had transformed into particles of light, and he had peeked into the essence of the universe. For a moment, Su Yan's aura was somewhat terrifying. It was as though he had transformed into a primordial celestial lord. An ancient aura permeated the air, and he looked down on the universe. Unfortunately, these comprehensions only lasted for a moment before dispersing. Su Yen felt that it was a pity. He had just touched the core of the third level, but he hadn't completely grasped it. However, he felt that it would be soon. If he was given some more time, he should be able to unleash the third level. "Who is it?" He furrowed his brows. He had been in seclusion for half a year, and no one had disturbed him. But now there was an uninvited guest outside his door, and his aura was exceptionally dangerous. "This old man is Xianxiuma. I'm here to pay a visit." An aged voice drifted in from outside, causing Su Yan's expression to darken. He shouted, "So it's people from the Xian people. You guys aren't my guests. Please leave." "Little friend, calm down. This old man is the fourth elder of the King City. Could it be that I don't even have the right to see you?" The old man outside the door said calmly. "Don't worry. I'm here for a good reason. I won't purposely target you or make things difficult for you. On the contrary, I've brought you a great piece of good news. Don't tell me you're here to apologize because I killed Xian Jing and Xian Yu," Su Yen said mockingly. "This old man is honest. I have no other intentions." Xianxiuma's tone was old and he was very old. He said calmly, "The immortal tribe is very big and there are many factions. The immortal desert's way of doing things is a little arbitrary. Now that I have come personally, I naturally have the intention of apologizing." Su Yan's expression was strange. What did this old man mean? However, he really wasn't worried that Xianxiuma would use force against him here. Su Yan had one protective talisman after another. The Dao Shi had given him an ultimate killing weapon, and the immortal Iron Staff's terrifying attack was enough to kill Xianxiuma. Moreover, he could inform Xiongba to come at any time. "Since Elder has come with sincerity, then come in." Su Yen waved his sleeves, and the door to the secret room opened. Xianxiuma wore a white robe and looked like an immortal. His steps were light, and as he walked over, lotuses of the great Tao appeared under his feet. He looked very holy. He didn't look like an old man, but rather an old immortal who was proud of his success. "Fourth Elder, what business do you have here?" Su Yen asked. Xian Xiuma smiled faintly. "Little friend, you're indeed a dragon among perfected ones. I thought you were confident enough to invite Xiong Ba to hold the fort." "What, you want to kill me?" Su Yen sat cross-legged and said coldly, "You failed a few days ago and you want to try again? Little friend, you've misunderstood." Xian Xiuma shook his head and said, "Although you and the Xian people have some misunderstandings, we're an emperor race. We won't use such despicable methods against you." "Despicable?" Su Yen laughed in anger. How many races were even more despicable than the Xian people? In order to achieve their goals, they would do anything. Xian Xiuma was a very peaceful person, and he also sat cross-legged. He also looked around casually, pondered for a while, and laughed. "Little friend, your life is really monotonous. Don't you have any women by your side?" "What? You Xian people see that I'm lonely, so you want to give me some beautiful women?" Su Yen chuckled. He was just casually retorting, but who knew that Xian Xiuma would laugh out loud? "Little friend, you're a dragon among dragons. Why not? Although the pearls of my Xian clan are of noble birth, you, Su Yen, are the young overlord of Imperial City. For the pearls of my clan to be able to follow you is their fortune." Su Yen was surprised. This old thing really put in a lot of effort. Xian Xiuma was very cultured and elegant. Although he was old, he had the demeanor of an immortal and was like a spring breeze. One look and you could tell that he was a person of virtue and prestige. He waved his sleeves, and a palace that shone with divine light appeared. This palace was very extraordinary. It was golden all over and overflowed with auspicious clouds. It was magnificent and rich, and it was filled with the aura of the great Tao. The golden palace shone, and the door opened with a bang. Sparkling and translucent flower petals scattered down, and the palace's atmosphere changed. Two beautiful women walked out from within. They both had skin of ice and jade, and they were incomparably beautiful. They carried the fragrance of young girls, and they were youthful and beautiful. Su Yen was astonished. This old thing really put in a lot of effort. The two women were extraordinary, and their beauty swayed gently. One of the women wore a long white dress. She was elegant and refined, like a snow lotus that was untainted by a speck of dust. Lotuses bloomed with every step she took, and she looked a little shy. The other was stunning, and she was extremely flirtatious. She wore a long red dress, and her temperament was charming. Her eyes rippled with a gaze that made one's heart tremble. The two beautiful women were even twin sisters, but their temperaments were completely different. One was elegant and refined, and the other was extremely flirtatious. They walked out from the palace, bowed towards Xian Xiuma, and then smiled at Su Yen. Chapter 1838. Elder, what do you mean? Su Yen asked even though he already knew the answer. Haha, young friend, you're full of heroic spirit. How can you not have your life goals? What's the taste of being an ascetic cultivator? You should enjoy what you have. Immortal Xiuma smiled and said, "They are also the pearls of our emperor clan, a pair of peerless geniuses. You can choose any one of them to keep by your side. Wouldn't that be wonderful?" The young girl in a white dress who looked untainted by dust had a shy look in her eyes, but she still walked towards Su Yen. She bowed slightly and said softly, "I'm Xian Qiu." The other young girl was extremely charming. She bloomed with astonishing beauty and was very bold. She walked over with her long legs and said with a smile, "I'm Xian Chun." Xian Chun, Xian Qiu. Su Yan's eyes looked at the two beautiful young ladies. He observed them for a while and laughed. Sending one is also sending. Wouldn't it be better to send them as a pair? A powerful force also surged out of his body, pressing towards the two beautiful young girls. Although it couldn't be said to be too strong, to these two beautiful young girls, It was like an endless demon was pressing down on them, causing their beautiful faces to pale. Their delicate bodies went soft, one on the left and one on the right beside Su Yen. Their heartbeats also sped up. Although their surname was Xian, they both came from aristocratic families under the Xian people. The twin sisters had been trained by the Xian people since they were young. Whether it was a trade, marriage, or giving them away, they didn't have any feelings of resistance. On the contrary, they were still sizing up Su Yen. They felt that their fate was very good to meet a young man with a powerful aura. He was extraordinarily handsome and would definitely be treated well in the future. Ha ha! Immortal Xiuma Hao laughed loudly. Good, good, good. Young friend, you're really a straightforward person and a true gentleman. That's how strong people should be. It's really a great thing in life. Two it is, I'll give them both to you. Elder, you're so polite. This junior is overwhelmed by your favor. Su Yen smiled and said, These two little beauties are budding. I can't wait any longer. Elder, you should leave first. I'll visit you tomorrow to thank you. How about that? The two beautiful young girls became even more shy. Both of them were gorgeous and exceptionally moving. Ha, little friend, women are indispensable in life, and so are other things. Xian Xiuma's laughter was extremely loud, his mood exceptionally cheerful. He said, I came with great sincerity, and I also have some good things for you. The golden palace in front of Su Yen shone. The palace was overflowing with auspicious multicolored light. One after another, bowl-sized divine pearls flew out. There were over 100 divine pearls, and every single one of them was coiled with vast imperial Dao might. This was a total of 108 divine pearls, and when they were combined together, it was sufficient to form the grand formation of the heavenly stars. Xian Xiuma formed an imprint, and the 108 divine pearls began to revolve with a loud rumble. They enlarged one by one, and soon, they emitted waves of terrifying fluctuations. They automatically formed a celestial formation, and their might shook the world. This set of treasures is incredible, although it can't compare to the 5-element ring you won. Xian Xiuma smiled and said, However, this set of treasures doesn't require much divine power to activate. They can be directly combined to form a great killing formation. Even an Emperor Dao expert's face would turn green if they encountered it. Elder, you're too courteous. You're giving me treasures and beauties. I really don't know what to say. Su Yen laughed loudly. With a wave of his sleeve, he really didn't stand on ceremony and accepted all 108 divine pearls. He laughed and said, I really don't know what to say. I can't thank you enough. I can't thank you enough. Little friend, you're treating me as an outsider. You and I are already friends. Xian Xiuma stroked his beard and said with a smile, These things are nothing. Just take it as an apology. These days, the Xian people have offended you. Don't take it to heart. Now that you and I have turned hostility into friendship, isn't that better? I've already accepted the items, and Elder has kindly advised me. Naturally, the grudges with the Xian people are written off. Su Yen said magnanimously. Good, good, good. Xian Xiuma's smile became even more satisfied. Then, he said in a low voice, Actually, the main reason I'm here is to make a deal with you. Elder, please say it. As long as I can do it, I'll do my best to satisfy you, Su Yen replied. Xian Xiuma was very serious. The door of the palace opened again. The scene inside was a bit frightening. Hundreds of thousands of immortal sources were laid out, burning fiercely. It was about to turn into an immortal sources ocean. The two girls were shocked. What kind of wealth was this? He directly took it out to make a deal with Su Yen. Just how big was this person's background? One had to know that Xian Xiuma was an important person in the Xian people. He was also the 4th elder of the imperial city. His position was extraordinary. There are 250,000 caddies of immortal sources here. Xian Xiuma said in a low voice, Now, as long as little friend nods, these 250,000 caddies of immortal sources will be given to you. If this matter is completed smoothly, the Cien people will even give you generous gift. To be honest, 250,000 caddies of immortal sources is a great fortune, but to the Cien people, it's nothing. As long as you nod, everything is not a problem. The price can be negotiated. Cien Xiuma displayed the domineering aura of a king. If it was anyone else, they would probably be shocked. Elder, why are you here? Su Yen asked. It's very simple. The founder of the Cien People's Foundation in the human world left behind a 9-colored artifact before he died. This item is most likely not of much use to little friend, but it is very important to the Cien people. My race wants to take it back immediately. As long as you nod, the deal is complete. If you have other requests, you can even raise them. My race can satisfy them. I see. Su Yen was enlightened. He said, I know about that 9-colored artifact. I thought it was a useless item. I didn't expect it to be so important to the Cien people. Can you take it out and let me study it first? Cien Xiuma was a bit impatient. This was something that all the Cien people cared about. Su Yen said regretfully, I won't hide it from Elder. I put it in my family's treasury and didn't bring it with me. Hearing this, Cien Xiuma's face darkened. He frowned and said, Little friend, are you joking with me? I remember that when you made a bet with Cien Jing, you said you had a 9-colored artifact. That's because I don't think I'll lose. Su Yen said confidently, I'm just trying to gain something without risking anything. At this point, Cien Xiuma's face turned ugly, but he forced himself not to explode. He asked, Can I take the 9-colored artifact immediately? Sure. Su Yan's words shocked Cien Xiuma. A smile appeared on his old face. However, this was within his expectations. With more than 200,000 immortal sources in front of Su Yan, anyone would be tempted. Su Yan was a saint who had just arrived in the celestial world. He definitely wouldn't be able to sit still. But I have a condition. If Elder can satisfy it, I'll give you the 9-colored artifact. You can raise conditions. If you don't have enough immortal sources, you can add. Cien Xiuma felt that the matter was settled. He felt that there was no time that money couldn't satisfy. As long as the price was enough, Su Yen would voluntarily hand over the 9-colored artifact. It's very simple. I don't need other resources. 200,000 caddies of immortal sources is already a lot. I'm really worried that someone will target me and kill me. Su Yen smiled and said, This isn't a big deal. Back when I was in the Celestial Sect, Cien Mo wanted to ruin my Dao heart and bully the weak. I was very unhappy. As long as you let him come over and kowtow to me and admit his mistake. You, Cien Xiuma's body trembled violently. He was frightened by Su Yan's words. He wanted Cien Mo to kneel and apologize to him. Not to mention kneeling, even if Cien Mo apologized, it would be impossible. What kind of existence was he? He could represent the honor of the Cien people. Little friend, your condition is a bit too much. Cien Xiuma clenched his fists and suppressed the anger in his heart. He said in a low voice, Change your condition. I can satisfy you with resources. Money is just a worldly possession. I really don't care about it. Su Yen shook his head. His tone was a bit cold. He shouted, Cien Mo ruined my Dao heart. It's not a big deal for me to ask him to kowtow and apologize, right? If you Cien people really want to make a deal, I believe Cien Mo won't refuse. Cien Xiuma's entire face darkened. Dali clenched his fists tightly. His pupils faintly emitted a terrifying wave, causing the entire secret room to tremble slightly. What, you want to attack me? Su Yan's expression was also cold. Su Yan, I respect you as a person. Cien Xiuma's aura grew stronger and stronger. His eyes were filled with forbidden light. He said coldly and angrily, But don't make a mistake. I've already paid the price. Do you think I'll agree to such a ridiculous condition? Then there's nothing to talk about. Please leave. Su Yan's expression also turned cold. You're being presumptuous too. Do you know who Xianmo is? Do you know how much influence we Xian people have in the immortal world? I advise you to think clearly. Xian Xiuma was about to explode. He was so angry that his blood was boiling. I said, if you can't fulfill the condition, there's nothing to talk about. Please leave. Su Yan closed his eyes. Good, you're very good. Xian Xiuma suppressed the killing intent in his heart. He pointed at Su Yan and said, Su Yan, we'll see. Give me the things. In short, the two beautiful girls were scared silly. They trembled and wanted to get up. However, they couldn't move at all. Su Yan's powerful aura leaked out. Even in front of a big shot like Xian Xiuma, his expression didn't change. He said in a low voice, You dare to take back the women I touched? You're thinking too much. The twin sisters were trembling. How could this be? They were talking nicely just now. Why did he suddenly change his attitude? What happened? In short, they couldn't move. They lay on Su Yan's left and right, their snow-white bodies trembling. This was because Xian Xiuma was really terrifying at this moment. He was like a terrifying lion going crazy. Even if he tried his best to suppress his aura, the entire secret room was shaking and about to explode. You're unmoved by force or persuasion. Xian Xiuma's face darkened. He stood up and said coldly, You'll die in King City. There's no point in saying such harsh words to me. Su Yan sneered. I'll take any method. To be honest, killing an immortal scenery isn't satisfying enough. How many geniuses do you Xian people have? Bring it on. You ant, I really want to cut you into pieces. Xian Xiuma couldn't control himself anymore. Soul light burst out from between his eyebrows. It was majestic and vast. In an instant it rushed toward Su Yan. Su Yan's expression didn't change. He allowed Xian Xiuma's soul attack to crush him. However, when this soul attack surged toward Su Yan's forehead and pressed against his spiritual sea, the little pagoda suddenly stopped. The silent 9-inch-tall pagoda suddenly rumbled. The little stone pagoda seemed to have come to life. It was as if it had turned into a 9-colored immortal pagoda. It was suffused with a light that could split heaven and earth apart. Its aura was terrifying to the extreme. Bang! Xian Xiuma's primordial soul attack directly collapsed. The next moment, he was terrified. His soul was about to scatter. This was an extremely terrifying suppression. He couldn't even see clearly what material it was. His primordial soul was severely injured, and his eyes were turning black. Wah! Xian Xiuma screamed and coughed up blood. He looked terrified. What was this? Chapter 1839. Immortal Cultivator Mo's heart was filled with fear, as if he was avoiding snakes and scorpions. He ran away without looking back. Su Yan might have a big shot protecting him. He felt a headache coming. In that instant, he really felt death. His primordial spirit was in danger of being extinguished. What kind of expert was this? He didn't think it was a treasure. After all, with Su Yan's cultivation level, he couldn't activate a treasure of this level. The moment Immortal Cultivator Mo escaped, a huge claw came across the sky. It tore the sky apart, and a fierce aura rolled. Accompanied by the pungent smell of blood, it grabbed at Immortal Cultivator Mo's head. You dare! Immortal Cultivator Mo's expression changed. Xiongba was here. The anger he released just now shocked Xiongba. With Xiongba's temper, how could he let this go? He stretched out his claw and pressed down, surrounded by a fierce aura. Immortal Cultivator Mo's head buzzed. After all, his primordial spirit was heavily injured just now, and it was difficult to avoid Xiongba's power. Now that he was hit by Xiongba's terrifying attack, his head burst open. He screamed, and thick blood spurted out of his head. Even his whole body was trembling. Immortal Xiuma flew out, coughing out large mouthfuls of blood, falling to the ground like a dead dog, his entire body trembling. This was also completely because of anger. The tyrant bear actually dared to strike his head, moreover displaying such terrifying power, almost tearing his body apart. Xiongba, immortal cultivator Mo's eyes were red. He suffered too much. He lost his wife, lost his soldiers, and now was beaten up by Xiongba. Oh, it's fourth elder. Xiongba's real body crossed over, and a simple and honest smile appeared on his face. I thought there was an enemy invasion. I didn't expect fourth elder to come. Haha, sorry for not welcoming you. Xiongba, you did this on purpose. I'm not done with you. Immortal cultivator Mo roared. His eyes were blood-red, and he was mad with hatred. What's wrong, fourth elder? What business do you have with me? You didn't even greet me when you came. Xiongba clenched his fists and walked over with a sinister smile. Fourth elder, are you here to spar with me? Ha ha ha, I've been thinking of loosening my muscles recently. Since fourth elder is willing to help me, I think we can start here. Tyrant bear, you bastard, Xian Xiaoma gritted his teeth. He turned and ran, not daring to stay for even a moment. The tyrant bear charged forward. One had to know that its original form was an ancient giant bear, and its strength was world-shocking. A single charge was enough to cause immortal Xiaoma's bones to fall apart. It was incredibly painful. Ah, tyrant bear, you scoundrel, Xian Xiaoma screamed miserably. He directly smashed into the giant peak, smashing open a human-shaped hole, blood gushing outwards. Fourth elder, why are you so weak? Are you purposely giving me a few moves? I say, little four, you're too polite. You still don't understand me. I, tyrant bear, have thick skin. You can't kill me with just a few punches. Tyrant bear laughed heartily and rushed down the mountain, wanting to meet him again. In short, immortal cultivator Mo really went mad with anger. His eyes were about to pop out of their sockets as he roared furiously. He fled in a crazed manner. He no longer had his previous transcendent appearance, and his entire body was filled with resentment. Tsk, this hypocrite, who does he think he is? Tyrant bear snorted. It had always disliked the fourth elder. He was one person on the surface and another behind the scenes. These years, he had set up many traps for them in the royal city. After doing all this, Tyrant bear came to Su Yan's secret room. When it saw the two beautiful girls, it immediately understood what had just happened. With a dark face, it said, Su Yan, you dare to covet beauties? These two little beauties are confiscated. Su Yan felt wronged. Coveting beauties? This old bear couldn't have taken a fancy to them, right? This was Su Yan's gift. Sir, we. Xian Qiu and Xian Chun were scared out of their wits. Falling into the hands of a burly man, they most likely wouldn't be able to bear it. Wouldn't their end be too miserable? What are you shouting for? Daring to sneak into the elder compound's restricted area, this is not a small crime. Tyrant bear snorted coldly. It raised its hand and took out 2 sets of battle armor, tightly wrapping their beauty. At the same time, it reprimanded, seeing that this is your first offense, I can spare you from death, but you can't escape punishment. Both of you will be sent to the outer sect as slaves. Don't, sir. The two beauties were so scared that they knelt on the ground and begged for mercy. They had grown up in gold and silver nests and had lived a rich life. They had been carefully trained by the Xian people. Even if they married into a prestigious family, they still had the demeanor of a young lady. But now they were directly sent to become slaves. Thinking of this, their faces turned pale and they trembled. Ha ha! Tyrant bear laughed loudly. Thinking of the beautiful girls carefully selected by Xian Xiaoma, each of them with soft skin and tender flesh, doing hard work in the outer sect, he let out a treacherous smile. If this matter reached Xian Xiaoma's ears, he would probably be so angry that he would spit out blood. Tyrant bear's terrifying laughter made Su Yan's hair stand on end. This old bear was a bit perverted. This was too much of a waste. Su Yan wiped off his cold sweat. These days, Baokai had probably been tortured by Tyrant Bear every day. He didn't know what realm it had progressed to, but its cultivation level shouldn't be too low. Tyrant Bear had continuously provided them with resources. The door of the secret room closed, and bowl-sized divine pearls appeared one after another. There were 108 of them. Each divine pearl was forged from the essence of the celestial world's stars. It must have taken a very long time to forge them. This was a set of Emperor Dao-level treasures. Once the 108 divine pearls rotated, they would turn into stars in the sky, their aura terrifying beyond compare. Without a doubt, this was not only a set of Emperor Dao-level treasures, but also the manifestation of a killing formation. Once this set of divine pearls was activated, it could automatically devour the essence of heaven and earth, evolving into a monstrous killing technique. Su Yen nodded in satisfaction. He hadn't expected to unexpectedly obtain such a treasure. The Sky Tyrant Lord's world destruction halberd was also at the level of the Imperial Path. However, the value of this treasure surpassed that of the divine pearls of the heavens. However, Su Yen could not unleash the same power as the 108 divine pearls at the moment unless he stepped into the Supreme Saint realm. The divine pearls fell into Su Yen's body, and Su Yen tempered it with his own saint power. The third level of the art of body nurturing is still a little lacking. Could it be that this secret technique can only be mastered by the Daesong realm? Su Yen thought to himself. Once the third level of the art of body nurturing was mastered, Su Yen would very likely be able to master the world-shattering art of stealing the heavens. It would naturally be of great help to Su Yen. Unfortunately, the third level was too late. Su Yen didn't waste time on it and began to explore other divine abilities. The heaven-suppressing skill, one sword to cut time, reincarnation way of heaven punishing, thousand-world fist. One divine ability after another, each of them had enough combat power. Su Yen could already unleash part of the Daesong's combat power. He had to strengthen these divine abilities to unleash Su Yan's combat power. There isn't much time left. If I deduce these secret techniques, I can break through the realm of the peak of the Saint realm. Su Yen closed his eyes. This was a major hurdle. Once he took this step, he would only be one step away from the Daesong realm. In the secret chamber with the flow of time and space, Su Yen fell silent. His whole body emitted a strong martial arts consciousness, and the light of various divine abilities bloomed behind him. Along with the vague power of the Daesong, the moment it was activated, it was enough to fill the entire firmament world. Time flew by, and it was getting closer and closer to the start of the Battle of Coronation. It had been less than half a month, and experts from all walks of life had gathered in Monarch City. There were also a large number of warriors who reeked of blood. They had withdrawn from the battlefield to participate in this coronation ceremony. So many people have come to this coronation ceremony, including many geniuses from the monarch race. The city was very lively. Experts of the younger generation gathered, and geniuses from the heavenly court appeared one after another. You don't know yet, but the Immortal Cave has announced that the great battle of immortals and demons will begin. If you can rank first in this coronation ceremony, you can directly participate in the Immortal Cave's entrance contest. What? It's related to the Immortal Cave? Is the news reliable? In the past, the Immortal Cave had very few opportunities to recruit seeded contestants. Everyone knew the terrifying level of the Immortal Cave. Even if they didn't have the opportunity to enter the core area to cultivate, even if they could cultivate in the outer area for a period of time, it was a rare opportunity. It was enough for them to brag. They would brag for life. The city was filled with exclamations, and the geniuses of various clans were excited. They had also received some news, and it seemed to be reliable. The Immortal Cave was the place where Jie gathered. Once they entered, they would definitely live a life of glory. It's rumored that an expert named Su Yen killed Xian Jing. Even the Starry Sky Emperor clan's Starry Knights suffered a great loss, losing all face. Someone said softly. This was a genius from the immortal cave, yet he was killed by Su Yan on the King City's arena. The impact was too great. Silence. This matter is not something we can discuss. A Peng with a powerful aura had a cold expression. He shook his head and said, "My Sky Peng race has geniuses in the immortal cave. Starry Night's background is great, not just from an emperor clan. More importantly, her fiancé is extremely terrifying, possessing unrivaled fighting strength." "Dao friend, you can't speak carelessly like this. The immortal cave has many unrivaled geniuses, and some of them have participated in the great battle of immortals and demons several times. Who dares to claim to be number one?" Someone asked. "Hung, you all don't understand. It's rumored that that person is extremely terrifying. Even though he didn't participate in the great battle of immortals and demons, his background is extremely great." The news also came from the core region, which is enough to prove that this person is extremely formidable. This Peng's voice was downcast. "Just wait. That Su Yan most likely provoked a great disaster. How vast is the immortal realm? Even a lower realm true dragon would have to lie down." Many people didn't dare speak carelessly. The immortal cave's matters were rarely circulated in the outside world, so it wasn't something they could discuss. That night, a wave of boundless fluctuations swept over, suppressing this ancient cosmos. The power was tremendous, making the entire King City tremble slightly. "Who is it?" The experts in the city were horrified. This wave of power was too shocking. The King City seemed to have been suppressed. At the limits of heaven and earth, resplendent symbols filled the skies, as if 3,000 gods and devils had appeared. They moved up and down around a passage, as if they were respectfully welcoming the descent of the King of Gods and Devils. The expressions of the peak experts in the city all changed. Who was it that honored them with their presence, opening up a passage at the peak of King City? It was completely like a heavenly patrolling war god descending into the lower realm. The enormous passage rumbled with noise. A terrifying war chariot rushed out. Divine radiance flourished, filling up a corner of King City. The war chariot was terrifying, its might shaking King City. The entire war chariot shone, resplendent and dazzling. True dragons roared within, Kuan Peng splitting the heavens, accompanied by streak after streak of lightning that tore apart the heavens. The power was terrifying. The ancient war chariot became more and more resplendent. It was like a prehistoric giant beast that occupied King City, surging with a sea of forbidden order. This was a divine might that was difficult to resist. Many people were horrified, about to fall weakly onto the ground. In addition, King City was filled with boundless vicious might. It was as if an enormous dragon was lying in King City, pervading the air with world-shocking power. Forbidden supreme treasure. 10,000 creatures trembled. What kind of figure was moving about? This war chariot was also a forbidden supreme treasure. It surged with world-destroying lightning, making heaven and earth tremble. The sun and moon were about to fall. The peak experts at the emperor level were all horrified. What a great display of power! The war chariot moved through the air, filling up a corner of King City. Moreover, it moved about King City, as if it was crushing King City's heavenly might. Xiongba's expression became ugly. He stared at the war chariot, at the three ancient characters engraved on it. Immortal Cave. This was Immortal Cave's war chariot. Could it be that a great figure from Immortal Cave came? Perhaps it was an extreme figure with heaven overflowing authority from Immortal Elder Academy that descended upon King City? However, the war chariot moved through King City's skies, as if it was inspecting the world, inspecting its people. This type of extravagance was too great. Immediately afterwards, a woman with a noble temperament rushed towards the forbidden war chariot. The war chariot's great doors immediately opened, as if a forbidden world was opened. Endless lightning erupted from within, the aura terrifying beyond compare, shaking up the great cosmos. Starry Night, could it be? Someone trembled, thinking of something. Could it be that her fiancé came? Starry Night directly stepped into the war chariot. Her temperament became more and more noble, full of exceptional might, not allowing for any blasphemy. Where is Su Yen? The figure seated within the war chariot looked powerful and terrifying. He said coldly, "Have him kneel down and greet me." Chapter 1840. His words rumbled, accompanied by endless lightning, pressing down on the huge King City world. Many cultivators were scared. These words shook their souls, as if they were going to split open. The deterrence was too great. After all, many people found it difficult to resist the power of a forbidden treasure. They felt suffocated from the bottom of their hearts, and they really had to kneel down to welcome it. The experts at the Emperor realm were all speechless. This was a forbidden treasure, too rare and extraordinary. Moreover, it was an ancient chariot. The power of the entire chariot was terrifying, and the forbidden power was unstoppable. It could wipe them out in a single exchange. The chariot occupied the peak of King City, and the figure inside was situated in a sea of lightning, looking down at King City with cold eyes. "Little Thunder, why are you here?" Starry Night was surprised. She thought it was the Tenrai of Beach who had come, but she didn't expect it to be Little Thunder. He was the younger brother of the Tenrai of Beach, and he also possessed shocking heavenly might. He was even about to become a core member of the Immortals' Cave. Without a doubt, Little Thunder was one of the strongest experts in the outer region of the Immortals' Cave. He had already passed the core selection competition. One had to admit that he was very powerful and extraordinary, and his future was limitless. It could be said that he was invincible in the Saint realm. "Sister-in-law," Little Thunder said coldly, "Big Brother already knows about your matter, but he can't come out of seclusion at the most important juncture of his cultivation. He specially asked me to come and take Su Yan's head to help you vent your anger. You don't have to worry. He's just a little grasshopper from the wasteland of the lower world. It's no big deal to kill him." "Good brother, how should I thank you?" Starry Night's face bloomed with a smile. Although the Tenrai of Beach didn't come, his precious chariot had come. This was enough to show the Tenrai of Beach's attitude and how much he cared about her. "Haha, sister-in-law, just wait for Big Brother to become invincible and emerge victorious in the immortal and devil battlefield. Then, you two will get married. We're all family, so there's no need to stand on ceremony with me." Little Thunder laughed heartily. He pulled Starry Night's jade-like hand and made her sit beside him. He looked quite overbearing and majestic as he said, "Just watch. I'll let that little trash called Su Yen know how miserable the consequences of messing with you are." "Where is Su Yen?" The forbidden war chariot shone again, transmitting waves of heavenly might. He said angrily, "Why haven't you come out yet? My patience is limited. Don't make a mistake. You're going too far." Xiongba soared to the top of the sky and stared coldly at the forbidden chariot. He said angrily, "You've already given enough face to the Phase Cave, and you want to do it again? What do you think this place is? How dare you?" Little Thunder's face darkened as he shouted, "Don't you see the chariots of the Immortal Cave? There's no need for you to tell me who I am. You should know who I am. Why aren't you coming over to greet me?" His voice was extremely loud, shaking heaven and earth. At the same time, the Immortal Cave's authority was great, able to move unimpeded through various great realms. After all, behind the Immortal Cave was the Immortal Elder Academy, the most powerful organization created by the immortal world back then. Its power was terrifying beyond compare. To speak bluntly, a single order from the Immortal Elder Academy was enough to make the immortal world undergo great changes. "Bastard!" Xiongba's expression changed in anger. He shouted, "I am King City's second elder. You don't even come out with your true body, and you still want me to greet you? Do you really think you are the ruler of the immortal world? So what if you're King City's second elder? A single order from my Immortal Elder Academy is enough to make you lose your job." Little Thunder pinched Xiongba and said coldly, if you know what's good for you, hand over Su Yan. I have something important to ask him. Heh. Xiongba laughed. The more he looked, the more he felt that something wasn't right. He admitted that any immortal elder in Immortal Elder Academy was in existence with great achievements. However, Immortal Elder Academy's Immortal Elder definitely wouldn't barge into King City so rudely. After all, this was the territory of King City's Dao Protector. The Dao Protector's status wasn't any lower than Immortal Elders. Moreover, he controlled King City, so his status was even more respected than some Immortal Elders. The expert inside the war chariot spoke with such an arrogant tone. It felt like he wasn't a member of Immortal Elder Academy. What are you laughing at? Little Thunder's face fell. Are you looking down on Immortal Elder Academy, or are you mocking someone? Be careful that I don't punish you for your offense. Roar! Xiongba's aura immediately became much more terrifying. An ancient giant bear roar sounded from within his body, making even the universe tremble. This was a power that could destroy heaven and earth. It crushed towards the forbidden war chariot. What? You dare take action against me? Little Thunder's expression changed. He didn't expect to run into someone with such a temper. This was a war chariot with the words Immortal Cave engraved on it. Who dared to be disrespectful and rude? However, Xiongba attacked directly. A giant claw rose from behind him, crushing towards the forbidden war chariot. The entire war chariot rumbled. Suddenly, endless lightning scattered down. However, it was still very difficult to stop Xiongba's power. A large hole was directly created in the lightning, and the giant claw grabbed towards a tiny figure within. Bastard! When Xiongba saw its true form, he was immediately furious. This was a saint, not some great figure from Immortal Cave at all. However, Little Thunder was very calm. A blurry figure appeared beside him, blocking Xiongba's power. He sneered and said, "You really have guts. However, if you have the guts, try moving again. Let's see if you can handle it." Xiongba's face was ashen. However, the figure in the war chariot was a bit frightening. Although it was a bit blurry, the silhouette of that figure was like a supreme immortal king. Once touched, it would trigger an uncontrollable change. I say, Xiongba, your temper is too rash. The people from Immortal Cave only came to investigate a matter. Why are you sticking your head out? Xian Xiuma walked over, laughing sinisterly. What? Have you recovered from your injuries? Xiongba's eyes turned cold as he said in disdain. Xian Xiuma's face was dark and sunken. A few days ago, he was heavily injured by Xiongba and till now he still hadn't recovered. What made him even more annoyed was that the two beauties he chose were actually sent away as slaves by Xiongba. Hee Xiongba, we will have plenty of chances to settle our debt in the future, Xian Xiuma said coldly. Su Yan is obviously in your residence. Why don't you let him out? Sorry, Su Yan is in seclusion and can't come out for now. He said that he is resting after destroying immortal scenery, Xiongba replied with a fake smile. How dare you? Little Thunder shouted coldly, let Su Yan out immediately. Otherwise, I will smash your residence door. Little thing, don't blame me for looking down on you. If you have the ability, then show me your trump card. Let me see if you dare or not. Xiongba laughed coldly. I have something important to do, so I won't entertain you. Let's see where you can go. If it was any other day, Xiongba would have warmly entertained an expert with the Immortal Cave's war chariot. However, this person was too arrogant. Xiongba really didn't want to serve him. Little Thunder's face was dark. Starry Night at the side laughed coldly. Don't bother about him first. After dealing with Su Yan, we will settle the matter with them. Sister-in-law, don't worry. It is easy to take the head of a small fish. Let's see how long he can hide. The forbidden war chariot rumbled out of Monarch City. However, there was a huge commotion outside the city. A large graveyard shook violently. An ancient graveyard directly collapsed. Broken bones flew everywhere. Monarch City was in an uproar. The people who came were too strong and almost destroyed a graveyard. Roar, although the ancient graveyard cracked open, the sound of gods and demons surged out and exploded after a long time. The dilapidated graveyard shone and revealed a figure that could destroy the world. His hair danced wildly and his essence chi and spirit pierced through the heavens. Although he had died in battle for countless years, the graveyard still surged with a monstrous battle aura and pressed down on Little Thunder. "You ghost, how dare you cause trouble?" Little Thunder's eyes shot out 2 bolts of lightning. His aura instantly blazed 10,000 times. His mouth and nose emitted the light of immortal thunder. Behind him, a vague but huge outline appeared. Although it was a little dim and difficult to see, it was still accompanied by the unchangeable Daesong's heavenly might. It pressed down on the graveyard's afterimage until it exploded. Starry Night was shocked. Little Thunder was really strong. He managed to stimulate a lot of Daesong's aura. As expected of Little Thunder, who passed the core selection competition. He had some of his brother's style. A pile of broken bones that haven't melted yet. What a bummer. Little Thunder said coldly. He grabbed a broken bone from the graveyard and handed it to Xianxiuma. Go over and give this bone to Su Yan. Tell him that if he doesn't appear, I will smash the entire graveyard. Xianxiuma's heart skipped a beat. He was afraid. He really didn't dare to go. This was the graveyard of Heaven Burying Cave's 21st generation disciple, who was also Hua Ping's respected senior brother. Now that Little Thunder had destroyed the graveyard, this was a great disrespect to the deceased. It was also a serious provocation. A storm swept through the capital. A series of news spread out, shocking the young geniuses of various races. Before long, Little Thunder arrived at his official residence. It was packed with people. Too many geniuses came to greet him. He is the Tenrai of Beek's younger brother, Little Thunder. He has already passed the Immortal Cave's core selection competition. Many people were speechless. There were too many people who came to greet him. The geniuses of various races gathered. The pearls of various races waited with smiling faces, hoping to meet Little Thunder. The Tenrai of Beech was a peerless genius. Little Thunder was not much inferior. Both of them had some Daesong's heavenly might. This showed how powerful and shocking Little Thunder was. That Su Yan is going to be unlucky. Someone was shocked and said, the king-naming battle will most likely end with the death of a genius. Little Thunder had already announced that he would take Su Yan's head to avenge Starry Night. Undercurrents were surging in the capital. It was said that a group of people from the Xian people and the reincarnation imperial family had also come. It seemed that there were more variables in this king-naming battle. Days passed, but Su Yan still did not show up. There were rumors everywhere in the city. Some people thought that Su Yan would most likely bow down. Starry Night was not scary. The scary one was the Tenrai of Beech, the peerless genius of the Immortal Cave. He was the supreme genius of the younger generation in the immortal world. There were 3 days before the king-naming battle. In the official residence of the Xian people, King Yingwu went to find the third elder of the elder compound with expensive gift. When he passed by the mountain where Su Yan and the others were cultivating, he frowned slightly. He felt that the aura flowing at the top of the mountain was somewhat shocking. Then he shook his head. It must be an illusion. Daesong was not cultivating in seclusion in the secret chamber. Su Yan and the others would not be stupid enough to break through Daesong at this juncture. After all, once they broke through, they would be assigned to the Daesong battlefield. Su Yan, I will make sure you die a horrible death. King Yingwu laughed in his heart. The third elder was the elder in charge of the king-naming battle. As long as he could bribe the third elder, Su Yan and Little Thunder would be assigned to the same battlefield. When that time comes, this brat's aura. Xiongba was very strange. The aura of Su Yan's secret chamber was very shocking. He felt that there was a Daesong hibernating here. It was as if the prison was torn apart, the aura of life was infinitely strong and turbulent. Break. In the secret chamber, the divine light was dazzling. A large amount of immortal source was burning and drying up in large batches. Under the stimulation of the vast amount of immortal source, Su Yan's body shone brightly. Terrifying blood qi gushed out from all of his pores, like an endless sun burning. Su Yan's body trembled violently. A layer of shackles was broken, and his life aura grew stronger. His strength was also standing at the peak of the Saint Realm. Su Yan's body was too strong. His heaven burial avatar rumbled and resonated with all other avatars. It was as if a true dragon with 10,000 azure dragons coiled in his body had come out of the abyss. He released a monstrous divine aura, as if he had directly transformed into the body of a Daesong. Chapter 1841. Comfortable. Su Yan's entire body trembled, and his body actually emitted waves of dragon roars. This was emitted by Su Yan's flesh and blood, and the scene was terrifying. He had broken through the shackles and reached the peak of the Saint Realm. This realm was very important. Once he stepped into this realm, Su Yan would be at the peak of the Saint Realm. The increase in his strength would be quite astonishing. The essence of qi and blood gushing out of the pores all over his body surged like a galaxy soaring into the sky. He was unprecedentedly powerful. Su Yan's blood essence surged, and his battle prowess surged, causing the secret chamber to tremble continuously. In the end, Su Yan spat out a mouthful of turbid air. His blood essence spread out, and his body resonated. His body's strength was earth-shattering, and his organs glowed. Every bone in his body made a sonorous sound, and layers of blood essence surged up in his body and finally merged together. In an instant, heaven and earth split apart, and the secret chamber collapsed into a huge hole. The resonating energy in Su Yan's body was a little shocking, and some of his unparalleled potential had been burned, causing a stream of blood essence to shoot out from the top of his head. It broke open the secret chamber, supported the peak of the sky, and scattered the clouds in the sky. My dear mother! Xiongba's heart ached as soon as he touched Old Gao. The cost of this secret chamber was very high, and Su Yan had been destroyed just like that. Xiongba's face turned green, and he decided to train him well. However, when he saw a blazing figure soar up from the secret chamber, Xiongba's body trembled, and he quickly approached the broken secret chamber. The broken secret chamber emitted a brilliant divine light, like an endless scorching sun. Accompanied by vast blood essence shooting out in all directions, they all merged together in the void, transforming into a great saint dragon of the great Tao. It coiled between heaven and earth, roaring Daesong wave. What kind of monster is this? Is his physical body going to transform into Daesong? The tyrant bear glared and raised his hand to conceal Su Yan's aura. He found it difficult to calm down. He was an ancient giant bear, but now he felt that Su Yan was the true monster. Su Yan's body was simply too tyrannical. It was as if he was about to transform into a Daesong expert. His magic power overflowed the heavens, and his qi and blood surged. This made the tyrant bear speechless. What a powerful body! Even in the immortal cave it was rare, right? Tyrant Bear's expression turned grave. Not only Su Yan, but Long Daesong's foundation could also be said to be heaven-defying. It had never seen such a terrifying true dragon. It even suspected that it was the reincarnation of a group of dragon kings. There was also Xia Fairy. Her swordsmanship was heaven-defying, and the secret techniques she used were mysterious and unparalleled. Even someone as powerful as him could not see any clues. He suspected that Xia Fairy had an extraordinary master. There was also that little girl called Bamboo Moon. She was not simple at all. Her seclusion grounds had an aura that made even his hair stand on end. The tyrant bear suspected that Bamboo Moon had received a shocking inheritance. Perhaps only the Tao protectors would be able to see some clues. In short, each person from the human realm was more abnormal than the last. None of them were ordinary characters. The one called East Demon cultivated some kind of Emperor Sutra. The higher the realm, the more powerful the foundation needed. In order to satisfy East Demon's cultivation, the tyrant bear lent him a total of 1,500 kilograms of immortal source. After all, the more profound the immeasurable sutra was, the more energy and materials needed. This brat is really a bottomless pit. The tyrant bear was speechless. It looked at the immortal source fragments all over the ground. A total of 1,000 kilograms of immortal source had been refined by Su Yan, and the energy in the secret chamber had also dried up. The tyrant bear felt a little pained. This secret chamber was equivalent to being destroyed. It would take a long time for it to recover. When the Tao Protectors come out of seclusion, I must think of a way to help them. The Tao Protectors were the lords of the royal cities. They had a large number of rare treasures. After all, with Su Yan's potential, if he had the help of rare treasures to help him break through to the Daesong level, he would be able to go even further in the future. Of course, what the tyrant bear did not know was that Su Yan's group had already settled the Daesong resources before coming here. The Time Dao stone and other materials could be used very soon. However, East Demon and the others were still far from breaking through. Currently, they were all at the seventh heaven of the Saint Realm. In short, the tyrant bear felt that this king-conferring battle was going to be interesting. To the tyrant bear, although Su Yan's group came from the human realm, it was still worth it. But it was precisely because of this that they were worth nurturing. They had no foundation in the immortal world. Although the royal city was a place where prodigies gathered, almost all of them were prodigies from the various factions. Nurturing them was also nurturing prodigies for the various factions. However, the tyrant bear was selfish. Nurturing them was not as good as nurturing reliable people. In the future, when Su Yan's group grew up, they would all belong to the Tao Protectors. Thinking of this, the tyrant bear laughed. He patted his head and got up to leave. The Elder compound was very big. In a unique small world. Deep inside, a wild aura filled the air. Some worlds filled with chaos had pinnacle experts in seclusion. In a world filled with forbidden ripples, the third elder of the royal city had a gloomy expression. He was already very old, and his entire being seemed lethargic, as if he was nearing the end of his life. This person did not belong to the immortal race, nor did he belong to the Tao Protector's lineage. He was an elder left behind by the previous Tao Protector in the royal city. He said in a low voice, "King Yingwu, you're making things difficult for me." King Yingwu knelt respectfully in front of the third elder. In the past, King Yingwu was very impressive. He was an expert valued by the immortal desert. Although he was only a pinnacle Daesong, his status was even more honorable than an emperor. But now, King Yingwu's realm had dropped and his internal injuries had not healed. Su Yan had beaten him 50 times, leaving him with internal injuries that were difficult to heal. Most importantly, his reputation was ruined. He no longer had the demeanor of a king. King Yingwu did not care about his status. He knelt in front of the third elder and said, "Third elder, my tribe has shown enough sincerity. This is 200,000 caddies of immortal source. Moreover, I'm not asking you to kill Su Yan. In the era of the previous Tao Protector, I was the elder in charge of the coronation battlefield. Since the arrival of the current Tao Protector, I've still been the same. The Tao Protector has treated me well." The third elder frowned. How could he not be tempted by 200,000 caddies of immortal source? He had accumulated less than 100,000 caddies of immortal source in half of his life. Moreover, in order to extend his lifespan, his immortal source was almost used up. The price that the Xian people offered was too high. The third elder was naturally tempted. But to ask him to violate the rules of the coronation battlefield, he really did not have the gut. Once he was found out, he would be executed. The coronation battlefield of the previous coronation battlefield was a huge matter of the immortal world. Who dared to violate the rules? Third elder, you're wrong. But you've been working hard in King City all these years. Even if you didn't make any contributions, you've still worked hard. But now you're still the third elder. Instead, the bad-tempered Xiongba has become the second elder. This is too unfair. King Yingwu sneered. This made the third elder's face turn gloomy. He had lived for so long. How could he not know that King Yingwu was trying to sow discord? But this sentence also stung the third elder. Yes, he was old and his lifespan was coming to an end. But he had been in King City for hundreds of thousands of years. Now he was still the third elder. Once this matter is verified, my life will be in danger. I know the temperament of the Tao protectors very well. The third elder struggled intensely for a while. Then he snorted and said, even though I don't have much lifespan left, I can still live peacefully for tens of thousands of years. The immortal source is already of little use to me. Why should I take the risk? King Yingwu was overjoyed. He could hear the implied meaning. If he had enough bargaining chips, the third elder could take action. Third elder, please take a look at what this is. King Yingwu's eyes were red. He took out a communication talisman and handed it to the third elder. At first, the third elder did not pay it much attention, but when he scanned it with his primordial spirit, his expression changed greatly. This was a communication talisman from Immortal Elder Academy. What do you mean? The third elder's voice trembled slightly. Could it be that there was a respected immortal elder who wanted Su Yan to die? If it really was like this, then there was no need for King Yingwu to beg him. He would take the initiative to end Su Yan's life. This was given to me by Little Thunder. As long as you agree, this talisman will belong to you. King Yingwu said, you should know what this means. If you have the opportunity to be favored by the immortal elder, I don't need to explain what the result will be, right? Madness flashed past the depths of the third elder's eyes. Entering Immortal Elder Academy, this was something he yearned for even in his dreams. Third elder, what are you still hesitating for? King Yingwu roared. The existence behind Little Thunder can take Su Yan's life with a single sentence. If you follow Little Thunder's wishes now, he will definitely help you put in a few good words. When the time comes, entering Immortal Cave won't be an issue at all. You guys have given me a price that is hard for me to refuse. King City's third elder took a deep breath. He closed his eyes and said, leave the item behind and leave. I will help you deal with Su Yan, but I won't help you deal with the others. Don't worry, the one we want to kill is only him. King Yingwu's expression was a bit sinister. He knelt here and kowtowed fiercely. King Yingwu, what are you doing? The third elder frowned. He hurriedly pulled him up and said, why do you and I need to be so respectful? Third elder, please grant me my wish. King Yingwu took out a void pouch and kowtowed with his head on the ground. He said with a trembling voice, this is my life savings. Although it's not much, it's my sincerity to show my respect to you. I just need you to do me a favor and send me to the King Bestowment battlefield. Are you crazy? The third elder was shocked. You are Daesong. There is no hope for you to go to the King Bestowment battlefield. No, I just need an incarnation to go in. King Yingwu roared. I want to see him die. I want to see him get beaten to death. He ruined my life and destroyed my Tao foundation. I want him to die. King Yingwu roared. His whole body was filled with resentment. The third elder struggled internally. Once he was found out, it would be a great sin. King Yingwu took out a green fruit from the void pouch. It was the size of a fist. The energy it emitted was so dense that it could not be dissolved. It even had an auspicious aura that turned into a Tao flower that bloomed in the void. This is the longevity fruit. I got it from Lord Immortal Desert. The third elder's eyes were red as he nodded fiercely. This was what he longed for. The longevity fruit was too rare. Each one could extend his life by hundreds of years. At the same time, Su Yan shivered in his secret cultivation room. Who was thinking about him? Su Yen caught a kind of resentment aura, which made him shudder. I have cultivated for too long. It is time to relax. Su Yen stretched. The king bestowment battle was about to begin. One more day. Su Yen was surprised. Tomorrow was the day of the king bestowment battle. Muexien came. Her big eyes were bright as she brought a message from Su Yen. She was very worried. Once Su Yen and Little Thunder were in the same king bestowment battlefield, they would definitely experience a fierce battle. That was Little Thunder, a core member of the Immortal Cave. His big brother was the Tenrai of Beach, an extremely powerful existence. These two brothers had great backgrounds. They had a deep relationship with Immortal Elder Academy. It was said that they were related to a certain heaven-opening Immortal Elder. Little Thunder. Su Yan's expression was cold. He destroyed 21st Senior Brother's grave. Once you encounter him, don't be careful. Be careful. Muexien reminded Su Yen, don't underestimate the core members of the Immortal Cave. Each one of them has great strength. This Little Thunder is about to become Daesong. He is even more amazing. Can you ask the elders to arrange for Little Thunder and me to be in the same battlefield? Su Yan's words made Muexien stutter. You are crazy. This is breaking the rules. Once it is found out, it will be a huge matter. Moreover, the one in charge of the king bestowment battlefield is the third elder. He has been in this position for hundreds of thousands of years and has never broken the rules. Then Muexien wrinkled her nose and said, You, don't be too arrogant. The core members of the Immortal Cave can't be ignored. Okay, I know. Su Yen said with a smile. Muexien felt that Su Yen didn't listen and chattered endlessly. East Demon and the others also came out of seclusion one after another. The next day, in the early morning, the king bestowment battle had already begun. Chapter 1842. Dong Dong Dong. King City's holy bell covered the sky, its entire body flourishing with divine light and rumbling sounds. Golden ripples were emitted one after another, triggering great changes. It's starting. Everyone cried out loudly. The various saints were awakening, and the atmosphere in King City became tense and oppressive. Immortals and devils danced about chaotically within the city, battle intent surging, rushing towards the peak of the heavens, even forming the scene of various saints moving through the sky. King City, the place where the world's experts gathered. The king-conferred battle began, the momentum becoming increasingly vast, as if endless lightning tore apart the heavens. The battle intent released became increasingly dense. Outside the city, an ancient beast with a terrifying aura roared, opening its mouth to tear apart the great stars in the sky. This was an extremely terrifying Daesong expert, the blood and chi within its body overflowing, its strength exceptional. Moreover, the projection behind it was tens of thousands of zhang tall. In the next moment, the ancient beast trembled. Su Yen and the others who were walking towards the outside of the city all turned pale. Another aura awakened outside the city, one that was much more terrifying than this ancient beast. An enormous silhouette appeared in the heavens, the might of an expert surging. The entire star domain was trembling, completely stunned by this terrifying aura. This was simply an extremely powerful demonic god, powerful beyond compare. Its pitch-black figure filled the great earth of heaven and earth. When it soared into the sky, the great Tao rumbled, its figure simply comparable to a giant meteor. Su Yan's divine will probed over. This was a peak Daesong, its aura too powerful, its pitch-black figure suffused with the power to destroy heaven and earth. Even someone as powerful as Su Yan's primordial spirit could only see a rough image after operating it to the extreme. It was an enormous spider with terrifying demonic god blood flowing within its body. It surged violently, surging with the power to tear apart the heavens. Archaic demonic god race. Someone cried out in horror. This was an extremely terrifying battle clan of the Xian people. Many of the experts participating in the Daesong King conferred battle had ugly expressions. If they encountered this big fellow, they would definitely be devoured. Hung. In an instant, the heavens trembled, terrifying divine force surging. It was as if an extremely powerful beast had torn apart the heavens and the earth. The laws and orders of the heavens rumbled as they converged in an instant. A metal rod that was tens of thousands of feet long was about to smash down on all of the Daesong. The saints were all shocked. The incomparably large iron rod seemed to have landed on their hearts, making them feel as if their bodies and minds were being torn apart. Roar! The primordial godly demon roared and the huge spider burst into flames. Its blood essence became even more vigorous and powerful as it resisted the huge iron cudgel that came crashing down. It even wanted to use its own strength to knock the iron cudgel away. What a powerful existence! What race is this? Su Yen was astonished. Soon after, he saw an indomitable expert who seemed to be opening up the universe, transforming into a warrior race. It was a heavenly monkey with a blazing body. Its golden hair was as brilliant as a burning golden sun. Without a doubt, this great metal rod was its weapon. When it grasped it, the heavenly monkey's aura was terrifying, about to suppress the archaic gods and devils. Stop! An angry shout rang out. At the same time, an especially frightening aura spread out. Before the person arrived, the forbidden heavenly might surged out and covered the sky, causing all the experts to feel as if they had fallen into an ice cave. This was especially so for the primordial godly demon and the heavenly monkey. Their bodies trembled as their blood essence trembled, and they coughed up blood. They immediately retracted their auras, not daring to cause trouble here. Many people were shocked. This was a powerful heavenly monkey from the heavenly monkey clan. This clan had always been at odds with the primordial god-fiend clan, but no one had expected that two such terrifying overlords of the clan would come. In fact, many great sages had caught sight of some powerful experts nearby whose auras weren't any weaker than the two of them. Many people looked serious. In the king-bestowing war, only the top 3 experts were qualified to be crowned king-bestowing war. In other words, there were 10,000 participants. Only one could be chosen. However, the immortal world was vast, and there were billions of ancient worlds. There were batches of Daesong participating in the Battle of Daesong. This time, there were no less than 30 participants, which shocked everyone. The number of participants this time was twice as much as the previous ones. The Daesong Battle of Daesong has opened. Su Yen and the others had just arrived outside the city when they saw a large space-time wormhole open. The Daesong from various races rushed into the wormhole and began the king-bestowing war. Baokai was speechless. The immortal world was really prosperous, with countless experts. During the process, Su Yen carefully sensed and discovered at least a few dozen Daesong experts with terrifying auras. They were only a step away from the Emperor realm, and would probably become peak experts after they were crowned king-bestowing war. Outside the city there was a dark mass. The aura here was suffocating and silent, and there were countless saints gathered here. Some people estimated that there would be at least 30 or 40 battlefield. Although the top 3 experts were qualified to be crowned king-bestowing war, that was only for the Daesong Battle of Daesong. The overall strength of a king-bestowing war still needed to be evaluated. Without question, it was more difficult for a saint to be crowned king-bestowing war. Thus, even the top 3 experts might not have the strength to be crowned king-bestowing war. They're here. Su Yen and the others' arrival immediately attracted a lot of attention. A few days ago, Little Thunder had occupied the royal city and caused a huge commotion. However, Su Yen had not shown himself, which caused a lot of gossip. After all, Su Yen was no ordinary person. He had killed Xianjing, and his battle prowess could be said to be extraordinary. However, Little Thunder was different. He had already passed the Immortal Cave's core selection. Once he became a Daesong king, he could go to the Immortal Cave's core region. That was the place of good fortune that all the geniuses in the world dreamed of. Everyone yearned for it. However, everyone knew that such a person might not be born even once in 1,000 years. Similarly, Once one became a corps member, they would have unparalleled battle prowess. Su Yen and the others arrived, and found that many people were staring at them with hostility. Su Yen looked around. He was not familiar with the experts who were emitting hostility. Little Thunder's appeal was astonishing. These days, who knew how many young geniuses had gone to greet him, wanting to establish a relationship with Little Thunder? East Demon and the others had icy expressions. They had already heard that the Xian people and the others had spread word that they would make it difficult for Su Yen and the others to advance in the king-conferred battlefield. They had even said that if one could kill one of them, they would have the qualifications to enter the Emperor clan's good fortune to cultivate. This caused a great commotion. Although Su Yan's strength was clear for all to see, East Demon and the others were not necessarily strong. Thus, the killing intent in their eyes was undisguised. After all, this was a group of geniuses from the mortal world. They had no foundation, so if they killed them, then they killed them. What was the big deal? There were also people who shook their head. It was unlikely that Su Yen would meet young Lightning King on the battlefield. After all, everyone was randomly assigned to the battlefield, unless he was unlucky and was arranged to be in the same battlefield as young Lightning King. After hiding for so many days, he actually dares to come out. His skin is really thick. Some people sneered, looking at Su Yen as if they were looking at a dead man. Su Yan's eyes were cold. East Demon and the others' expressions changed as well, their killing intent leaking out. You don't like me? Su Yen clasped his hands behind his back. His eyes were like lightning as he looked at the young man who spoke. He said coldly, "Why aren't you attacking? What are you waiting for? How dare you?" The young man's expression darkened. He came from a noble family and respected Little Thunder greatly. He pointed at Su Yen and scolded, "Who do you think you are? How dare you act so arrogantly here? This is the immortal world, not the wasteland of the lower realm. You're just a Tyrannosaurus. Little Thunder has declared war for half a month and hasn't shown himself. I really hope he's unlucky and ends up in the same battlefield as Little Thunder. Then we'll have a good show to watch. I'm just afraid he won't come out. If you know what's good for you, Scram. This is not a place you can come. You want to be king? Do you have any battle achievements?" There were also people who mocked. Even if you have the ability to become the champion of the battlefield, you don't have the right to be king without any battle achievements. Do you understand? Their words were very unpleasant. It was obvious that they were on good terms with Starry Night and the others. They stood out to mock Su Yen and the others. They didn't think that they were qualified to be king and didn't think that they had killed any experts from the dark world. What's the point of slandering and belittling me here? Su Yen sneered, "You're like a bunch of clowns jumping up and down. Aren't you afraid of being laughed at?" Many people's faces darkened. Su Yan's words were hard for them to accept. A large number of experts' eyes were filled with killing intent, and their auras were extremely cold. Bastard, this young man was very direct and spoke viciously. However, as soon as he spoke, the sky changed color. A terrifying aura was released, and the void was trembling. An unparalleled aura erupted and pressed down on this young man in an instant. His expression was somewhat fearful, as if he had fallen into the purgatory of death. His ears were filled with the roars of gods and demons. "Ah!" he screamed miserably. His eyes turned black, and his soul felt like it was being torn apart. Even his legs went soft, and he fell to the ground with a putong. The surroundings were in an uproar. There were also people who were dumbstruck. This was too violent, attacking without a single word. Many people who had spoken just now shut their mouth. Their faces were twitching. This guy was really domineering. A bunch of idiots. Someone sneered inwardly. Immortal Jing was directly crushed to death. What qualifications do you all have to belittle him? Truly laughable. Why is there the stench of urine? The Baokai bared its teeth and roared, causing a huge commotion. Countless gazes landed on this young cultivator. They didn't know the name of this person who was kneeling and licking Starry Night's boot. In short, his strength wasn't that great. Bastard! The young man almost exploded in anger. Veins popped out on his forehead as he roared, "You lunatic, you dare to use force here? Where are the elders? Why aren't you directly suppressing him? Shut up. If you dare to speak nonsense again, we'll remove you from the competition." A group of enforcers rushed over, criticizing the young man. The other party didn't make a move at all, merely releasing his aura. However, the young man couldn't withstand it and was instead shouting here. This was really too shameful. However, the young man didn't care. It was as if he had lost his mind and was shouting randomly, biting whoever he saw. His eyes were red. An enforcer wiped away his cold sweat. Su Yen was truly savage. This idiot's primordial spirit was suppressed. Idiot thing, even immortal Jing was crushed to death by him. What are you standing out for? An enforcer shook his head, suppressing him. Only after a long time did this young man react. His expression was as if he had eaten a pile of shit. It was too ugly. At the same time, he didn't dare to look directly at Su Yen. Cold air was emitting from his body. He had almost died just now. The cultivators who had mocked Su Yen just now all shut their mouths, distancing themselves from Su Yen. Their expressions were all very uncomfortable. Many spectators shook their heads and couldn't help but laugh. This group of people was really asking to be humiliated. Little Thunder has arrived. This area was in chaos. A group of people walked over from afar, each of their auras stronger than the last. This was especially true of the leader, Little Thunder. His figure was suffused with a terrifying pressure, as if a Daesong was hibernating here. Saints could use vague Daesong battle prowess, causing the participants of various races to tremble. They all hoped that they wouldn't be placed on the same battlefield as Little Thunder. Chapter 1843. Little Thunder was awe-inspiring. His long silver hair draped over his shoulders. His face was like jade, and his eyes emitted the light of thunder. Many people didn't dare to look him in the eye. Although Little Thunder's aura was relatively calm, anyone could sense the terrifying power looming in his body. It was as if a Daesong was hibernating here, and could erupt with extreme power at any time. Very powerful, Eastern Demon commented. His eyes were fixed on the young Lightning King. His appearance didn't seem extraordinary, but this person's eyes were like a sea of chaotic lightning. Moreover, there were some indistinct lightning spirit phantoms in them. When they opened and closed, the void trembled. This is the core disciple of the fairy cave. I really want to know how strong he is. Baokai whispered. If he could really erupt with some Daesong's power, it would be really amazing. His power in the Saint Realm could be said to be unparalleled. The concept of the peak of the Saint Realm was the same as the concept of the Immortal Path Realm. The peak of the Saint Realm was the most powerful combat power in their body. It was equivalent to a Daesong's eruption. This required unparalleled potential to be released. The dense crowd of saints took the initiative to open a path for Little Thunder and the others. The experts traveling with Little Thunder were also extraordinary. There were definitely disciples from the outer area of the fairy cave. Each of them was extremely powerful, and they were popular candidates for the championship in the battlefield. Some people smiled bitterly. They really felt that they had come to the wrong place. It just so happened that before the Great War of the Immortals and Demons, a group of Ingjia in the fairy cave would be breaking through. For Starry Night and the others, if they couldn't come to the core area of the fairy cave, they would be in danger of being expelled from the fairy cave. Unless they had strong enough talent, the fairy cave wouldn't waste endless resources to cultivate them. They're going to be unlucky. The group of cultivators who had just avoided Su Yen returned. Their faces were blooming with smiles, and it looked lively. What made them flabbergasted was that Little Thunder didn't even look at Su Yen. His bearing was extraordinary and his might suppressed all living things. He was like the king of all saints as he walked to the forefront. The silent Daesong's heavenly might was faintly emitted. This included Starry Night and the others. They completely ignored Su Yen. What was going on? Little Thunder has the demeanor of Little Thunder. He's already a core genius of the Fey Grotto. How can he take Su Yen too seriously? Someone chuckled and said, otherwise, wouldn't he be lowering his status? Quite a few people agreed with these words. After all, this was a peerless genius who could stimulate Daesong's battle prowess. This kind of person was on a completely different level from them. His cultivation level was too high. A group of great figures from King City came to observe the ceremony, coming from a few flourishing great sects, to the extent where there were even Emperor Clan outer sect elders, wishing to come here to absorb holy seed. If they could be introduced into the clans, they could become an Emperor Clan outer sect power. In short, once they were crowned king, they would be valued by the Emperor Clan and be promised shocking benefit. In the future, if these people could become the strongest of the strong, they could also protect their own families and establish noble families. With the identity of an Emperor Clan, their families would be more noble. Everyone is here. It's almost time. The third elder of King City came and said calmly, everyone, I won't introduce the rules too much. The more points you get, the higher your ranking will be. The examination time of the coronation battlefield is 1 month. I think it's time to start now. Boom. As soon as he finished speaking, the area in front of him split open. A huge crack appeared, spanning tens of thousands of miles, filled with ancient fluctuations. What points? Baokai was confused. Su Yen said calmly, killing people. The more you kill, the more points you get. Baokai was shocked. Killing people? How many strong cultivators would die like this? The celestial world didn't take Saint Realm cultivators seriously. Of course, in the past coronation battles, the probability of dying was very low. Every strong cultivator who entered the coronation battlefield would be given a protective token. If they couldn't win, they could use the token to leave the coronation battlefield. But there was also a chance of death. These tokens weren't omnipotent. There were ways to break them. A large number of cultivators had already rushed into the crack. The shadow quickly disappeared without a trace. Little Thunder and the others were the first to enter. Su Yen and the others were not in a hurry. They lined up at the back and walked towards the crack. Ah! All of a sudden, the crack in the void exploded into a mass of bloody light. Su Yen was shocked. A strong saint's body exploded. His primordial spirit flew out and cried out in despair, "No, don't kill me. I was wrong. Leave my primordial spirit." Bang! There was no room for negotiation. His primordial spirit was torn apart. A void ring also exploded. A Daesong cultivator who was nearing the end of his life rolled out. This Daesong cultivator also screamed in horror. Unfortunately, before he could do anything, the third elder shattered his forehead. His primordial spirit was extinguished. Baokai gasped. This person wanted to sneak in and use Daesong's power to kill opponents and earn a lot of points. Unfortunately, he was still discovered. The big shots in the outside world were all speechless. They hadn't found such a stupid person in many years. Although the void ring that this stowaway hid in was extraordinary, how could he escape the search of the bestowed king battlefield? Even if he really managed to sneak in, the coronation battlefield had rules. Once a Daesong appeared, he would be discovered and killed. Old man, hurry up and leave. Fairy Xia was shocked. The mysterious skeleton was speechless. Would he be discovered? Not to mention the coronation battlefield, even the guardians of King City wouldn't be able to discover his existence here. Su Yen walked into the void crack. He felt a shocking suction force pulling at him. His figure suddenly disappeared. It was as if he was crossing the river of time. The scene in front of him was blurry. Time and space were distorted. He didn't know how far he had crossed. There was a special area in the coronation battlefield. Very few people knew about it. This was to ensure the fairness of the battlefield. It couldn't be affected by any external forces. Bang! Suddenly, a great pressure descended, covering the sky and the earth. This passage of time and space returned to a state of silence. Su Yan's face darkened. Was there a terrifying life form here? Vast divine power spread out, suppressing Su Yan until he felt very uncomfortable. His primordial spirit was somewhat dim. However, Su Yan's sea of consciousness was guarded by a 9-inch tall pagoda. It directly dispersed the influence, allowing Su Yan to spy on the source of the pressure. An elderly figure stood in the passageway and executed a series of profound hand seals to carve out a path in spacetime. Third Elder. Su Yan's eyes widened. This was the elder in charge of the trial ground. Su Yan had seen him just now. But why was he here? Not good. Su Yan's face was ugly. The third elder struck out a palm at him. An irresistible force attacked Su Yan, pushing him into the passage of time and space. What was he doing? This wasn't killing him, but sending him into the passage of time and space. Was he going to arrange for him to be placed in a special battlefield? Sorry, I was asked by someone. I will burn more paper for you on the road to the Yellow Springs. The third elder sighed. He wasn't worried that Su Yan would hear him. After all, there was a strong spiritual pressure. He believed that Su Yan was also confused. Then he calmed down. His eyes flashed with fanaticism. He couldn't refuse the benefits the Xian people gave him. Every man for himself. He was nearing the end of his lifespan. He didn't want to die like this. If this matter was completed successfully, he would have a different life in the future. Thinking of this, the third elder couldn't help but laugh. Su Yan, thank you for fulfilling my wish. You fought for a destiny for me. At the same time, in the outside world, the immortal desert, all the saints had already entered. In the process, there was no trouble. Luckily, the Tao Protector was in seclusion. Otherwise, the third elder wouldn't dare to violate the rules under his nose. Su Yan, don't blame me. I gave you the price, but you didn't listen. I could only give it to the third elder. Xian Shuma smiled coldly. Although this matter was a little dirty, for the sake of the Xian people, he had to do it. If he killed Su Yan in this way, once he was crowned king, his identity would have another layer of protection. The Xian people wouldn't be able to touch him so easily. Moreover, in this royal city, if Su Yan was valued by the Tao Protector, it would be another big problem. In the 9th battlefield, Su Yan's figure fell. He was a little weak. The third elder's attack just now had suppressed the energy in his body. Now, Su Yan quickly gathered the god power in his body. He had to leave this place first. He had been treated differently and sent inside. It was useless to say anything now. The only thing he could do was to walk out of the coronation battlefield alive. Rumble, in an instant, the entire sky and earth were suddenly filled with a powerful confinement force. It pressed down from the sky and covered a distance of 1,000,000 miles. Su Yan's eyes flashed coldly. Could they not wait to kill him? The 9th battlefield was vast and majestic. It was filled with an ancient aura, like a small world that had been destroyed long ago. In the area where Su Yan was, the star field was blazing. It was as if it had turned into a cloud in the sky. It pressed down and turned into a boundless sea of stars. It covered the entire land and suppressed Su Yan in the middle. It was as if he was locked in a huge star prison. His entire body was bearing an extremely terrifying pressure. The world was dim. Not a single trace of god power could be found. It was like a big universe of death and desolation. It was extremely difficult to even walk. It worked. Outside, one after another, young experts with strong chi and blood were entrenched. There were a total of 36 of them. The 36 young experts held different formation plate. They activated the star confinement formation and suppressed Su Yan in the middle. Heroic Martial King also laughed heartily. Su Yan had fallen into his hands in the end. Heroic Martial King, what are you doing? A young expert frowned. He glanced at heroic Marshal King, who was walking towards the prison, and said, "Come back, don't go. This brat has been suppressed. I'll beat him up first." Heroic Marshal King grinned evilly. No. Among the 36 young experts, there were Little Thunder's followers and also young experts from the Star-Field Monarch race. Although they came from the Monarch race, they did not have Monarch bloodline. They could only be considered outer sect disciples. However, they were all exceptionally powerful. Our race did not pay such a huge price for you to vent your anger. A young cultivator from the Star-Field Monarch race coldly said, "The young miss said to suppress Su Yen for a month and kill him when the King Bestowment battle is about to end." Heroic Marshal King immediately understood. Starry Night was truly ruthless. She wanted Su Yen to struggle in despair for a month before sending him on his way. At this moment, Su Yen was standing in the Star-Field prison. In the boundless world, a grand aura filled the air. It was suffocating. Su Yen was unharmed. He opened his heavenly eye and probed the Star-Field prison. This killing trap was indeed powerful and astonishing. However, who was Su Yen? He was a grandmaster of the occult arts. Just this Star-Field prison alone was not enough to suppress him. Su Yan's expression was cold. This killing trap was not targeted at him. Very soon, he understood. Was this to let Little Thunder come? Su Yen smiled. If this was really the case, wouldn't it be according to his wishes? Su Yen originally wanted to break the Star-Field prison. However, he keenly sensed that in this world without essence, his body was not used to it. However, it soon began to glow and heat up. It was as if an azure dragon was flowing in his flesh. Body nurturing technique? Su Yen was moved. This secret technique that sees the fortune of heaven and earth was operating on its own. It explored the vast world and stole useful materials to replenish itself. He was pleasantly surprised. In a place of death, the body nurturing technique was operating on its own. I really didn't expect that I would accidentally find a way to cultivate the body nurturing technique. Su Yan's face was glowing. The depression in his heart had dissipated. Su Yen was overwhelmed with emotions. He felt that there was great hope for him to take this opportunity to cultivate the third level of the body nurturing technique. Chapter 1844. Outside the coronation battleground, huge floating lists appeared in the sky one after another, raining down divine light. On the left was the Daesung list, and on the right was the Saint list. It recorded the points of the various battlefields, and it was related to the coronation battle. Near the lists, the old experts of various races gathered. They were nervous and expectant. The coronation battle was too important. Only those with enough battle strength could qualify for the coronation battle. This coronation battle was obviously different. The elders of these participants could only pray that they would not be placed in the same battlefield as some freak. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh! Suddenly, as soon as the coronation battle opened, a large group of cultivators flew out of the void crack. They were covered in dust, and some were covered in blood. They looked particularly miserable. Mu Xian was used to it, but she still mourned for these unlucky cultivators. These people were directly eliminated, and it would take a long time for the next coronation battle to open. This bastard, how could he be eliminated directly? Some of the older generation stared. They saw the young experts of their race come out directly. They did not even stay for half an incense stick's time. Wasn't that too fast? Almost all of them were saints, and there were very few Daesung. Daesung was too strong, even if the strong met the weak. They would not be defeated in a short time. Over 100 saints were eliminated. The elimination rate was shocking, but they still kept their life. They all left with red faces, unwilling to stay a moment longer. In fact, large batches of saints were being eliminated one after another. Obviously, the elimination rate on the first day of the coronation battle was ridiculous. The geniuses of various races were frantically earning points to improve their ranking. This was a great opportunity to make a name for themselves. Fairy Zixiao. Mu Xian was shocked. Fairy Zixiao was first in the 13th battle zone, and she had already obtained 7 points. Every person she forced out represented 1 point. Of course, if she met someone with more points, she would gain a lot of points. Xiongba was not surprised. Fairy Zixiao's battle strength was very strong, and her master was very impressive. Her sword skills were heaven-defying, and her killing power was superb. Her future was limitless. East Demon, second in the 18th battle zone. When Mu Xian saw East Devil's ranking, a sweet smile blossomed on her face. She was very happy to see the strength of her friends, although she was a little surprised. Then, her big eyes scanned the list of the Battle of the Saint. There were a total of 56 lists. She had to admit that it was a little ridiculous. There were too many experts participating in this battle. Each battlefield had 10,000 participants. Why isn't Su Yan on the list? Mu Xian frowned slightly. Su Yan's name hadn't appeared on the list yet. Tyrant Bear muttered in his heart. Su Yan's ranking hadn't appeared yet. Only by obtaining enough points would one be able to enter the rankings. Logically speaking, with Su Yan's level of strength, it shouldn't be difficult for him to dominate the battlefield's first place. I guess I was unlucky and was teleported to a remote, uninhabited area. Mu Xian thought to herself. She had been to the coronation battleground and knew that every battleground was huge. It was as majestic as an ancient universe. The elimination rate on the first day was extremely crazy. Mu Xian estimated that in a while, Su Yan would appear on the list. However, an entire day passed in an instant. There was no trace of Su Yan on the lists of the coronation battleground. However, Bao Kai and the others were all on the list. What was going on? Tyrant Bear frowned. Even if Su Yan met Little Thunder, he would definitely win. Su Yan's combat strength was too terrifying and extraordinary. He was simply a Daesong. Little Thunder definitely wouldn't be able to suppress Su Yan. Look, Little Thunder's points have already exceeded 200. Many people were shocked. In the 9th battlefield, Little Thunder's points were a little frightening. He had a total of 200 points and was ranked first in all the coronation battlegrounds. 200 points on the first day. If this continued, Little Thunder's points would be terrifying to the point of thousands. What is Su Yan doing? Fairy Zixiao strolled around the 13th battlefield. Her snow-white body was proud. Sword light whistled around her body. Her aura was biting cold to the extreme. She could see the rankings of the battlegrounds at any time. Little Thunder's points were currently the highest. Don't hold back. Charge. The more points you have, the longer you can stay in the land of fortune. The mysterious skeleton whispered. He had some understanding of the coronation battleground. I want Su Yan to compete with Little Thunder. Fairy Zixiao said, I'm still at the peak of the 6th sky of the Sage Realm. I can't stimulate Daesong's battle strength. I can't compete with Little Thunder. How could a personal disciple of the mysterious skeleton be inferior to a core disciple of the immortal cave? Heroic martial king bribed the third elder. Su Yan should be trapped. The mysterious skeleton's words startled Fairy Zixiao. Su Yan had been framed? Old thing, why didn't you say so earlier? Fairy Zixiao was anxious. It doesn't matter. The third elder doesn't have the guts to kill Su Yan directly. He's trapped in the 9th battlefield. The mysterious skeleton was very calm. Fairy Zixiao instantly understood. Little Thunder wanted to kill Su Yan in front of everyone to avenge Starry Night. Poor Su Yan. He's being suppressed. Fairy Zixiao's face was full of black lines. Then we can't let Little Thunder show off alone. Watch me break his record. Her aura suddenly skyrocketed. All the pores on her body spewed out dazzling sword rays that roiled and whistled. They split open the entire sky and slashed towards all directions. Her attack power was unparalleled in the world. Not good. Who is it? Is it a sword immortal? The Sword King of the generation. Run. The battlefield was in chaos. Fairy Zixiao went on a killing spree. She used the supreme sword will to open the way. The sword light was like a torrent, falling down and slashing at the Saint Realm cultivators in the distance. The experts felt a chill all over their bodies. This sword chi was too cold and terrifying. It was like the supreme killing saint art of the sword ancestor. Blood splashed everywhere, and a large number of Saint Realm experts fled. Fairy Zixia used a secret technique, and her battle power soared to the peak of the Saint Realm. The 5 sword embryos on her back began to unsheath. She really turned into a peerless sword immortal, slaughtering on the battlefield. Old thing, you like to eavesdrop. How hateful! Fairy Zixia thought of something and angrily scolded the mysterious skeleton. The mysterious skeleton retorted, I'm protecting your safety to prevent being harmed by the expert. How can you say that I'm eavesdropping? Fairy Zixia felt sad for the third elder. His most terrible secret had been completely eavesdropped by the mysterious skeleton, and he didn't even notice. Fairy Zixia will be famous in the immortal world. Fairy Zixia's aura became more and more fierce. Blazing sword light gushed out from the top of her head, piercing through the sea of stars and pushing away enemies in all directions. Little Thunder's points are now ranked first in all the battle zones. At this moment, in a remote area of the 9th battle zone, in the Star Sea prison, a group of Little Thunder's followers laughed. Of course, this was not surprising. With Little Thunder's strength, it was not difficult for him to do this. There were also people who looked at the figure entrenched in the Star Sea prison with pity. They shook their heads and said, if Little Thunder didn't need to get enough points, he would be a corpse now. Su Yen remained silent as he sat cross-legged. To King Heroic Marshal and the others, Su Yen should have accepted his fate. He knew that he couldn't kill his way out, so he was sitting in silence, waiting for the judgment of fate. In the unreachable situation, the sea of stars was bright and boundless. Su Yen looked a little insignificant, like a grain of sand insignificant. There was no spiritual essence in the world, and even the divine power in Su Yan's body was gradually drying up. The speed of the body nourishing technique was very fast, exceeding the fastest speed that Su Yan had ever performed. The faster it was performed, the more terrifying the profound meaning of the scripture was. The sound of the scripture was accompanied in his body, one after another. It was not very spectacular, but there was a kind of indescribable profound meaning looming in his body, as if it was going to steal the heavens and the immortal world. 3 days had passed, and Su Yen had not moved at all. The body-nourishing technique had been performed to the extreme, as if it was about to explode. It penetrated the sealed situation and seeped into the outside world. Crazy Little Thunder already has 1,000 points. Look, Fairy Zixia's points have soared by more than 30 points. Her points have surpassed Little Thunder's again. The outside world was in an uproar. Who was Fairy Zixia? They had never heard of her, but now her and Little Thunder's points were skyrocketing. This was already the 5th day, and the opponents they encountered were stronger. Sometimes, killing one of them could give them dozens of points. The Immortal Desert and the others were a little surprised. What was the background of this Fairy Zixia? She could compete with Little Thunder to this extent. You're really courting death, competing with me? Haha! Little Thunder was angry. He could see that Fairy Zixia wanted to compete with him. The aura in his body skyrocketed, and terrifying lightning leaked out of his body. He erupted with his most powerful battle strength, ready to slaughter the entire 9th battlefield. I'm surprised that Su Yen still doesn't have any points. Could it be that he has already fallen? Someone was terrified and said, or has he been killed by Little Thunder? Everyone knew that even if one had a protective token, once they encountered a strong enemy, they would not even have time to activate the token and would be killed directly. Xiong Ba's expression was a little strange. What was Su Yen doing? He looked at the 3rd elder and frowned. He had no reason to suspect the 3rd elder. After all, the 3rd elder had controlled the coronation battlefield for a long time, and there had never been any shady dealings. Mu Xian was a little anxious. It had been 7 days, and Su Yan still had not made any moves. What was he doing? The immortal desert and the others were smiling. It seemed that Su Yan was suppressed and could not come out. When Little Thunder was at his peak, he would suppress Su Yan, which would be even more shocking. The Xian people had completed the deal with Little Thunder. As long as Little Thunder suppressed Su Yan and gave him to the Xian people would support Little Thunder in the Cave of the Immortals. The 8th day passed in the vast star ocean prison. The sound of chanting spread out from the silent figure's body. The second level of the body nurturing technique was about to explode. Boom! Suddenly, Su Yan's figure seemed to have become billions of times more majestic. It was as if he had turned into a 9-colored divine fetus, stealing the fortune of heaven and earth. In the dark, Su Yan saw a blurry giant hand pressing down from outside the 3 realms, stealing the heavenly Tao. Stealing heaven art, an ancient and deep voice resounded. Su Yan grasped the boundless power. In an instant, the star domain prison shook violently. This was a vast power spreading. It was as if the entire 9th battle zone had been resurrected, giving rise to rolling waves of energy that rushed towards the star domain prison, creating huge cracks one after another. There's one more chapter tonight. Chapter 1845. Rumble. It was as if an ancient horn had been blown. The starry sky was trembling, the earth was shaking, and heaven and earth were turning dark. Obviously, this was a majestic wave spreading, as if the ancient universe was pressing down. The energy wave was so intense that it attracted many people's attention. The 9th battle zone was too big, vast, and boundless. Now, the wave had filled the entire 9th battle zone. What happened? The heroes trembled. The heaven and earth were in. It was as if an unparalleled demon king had been resurrected. This shouldn't be a wave from the holy battlefield. Why did it suddenly appear? The future was too ridiculous. At present, Little Thunder was very abnormal. He had opened the strongest test in the holy battlefield. In other words, Little Thunder was challenging all the strong people in the 9th battle zone, causing a huge sensation. Was this the strongest battle power of the core disciples of the Immortals' Cave? In short, the outside world was also in an uproar. King City's 3rd elder directly projected the scene of the strongest battlefield. Little Thunder was invincible, blurring Daesong's battle power, and blasting down a large number of strong people. Little Thunder's points began to soar. In one day, he had soared by thousands of points. This was very frightening and ridiculous. He was pulling away from Fairy Xixia. But what made the spectators even more scared was that Fairy Violet Glow had also opened up the strongest battlefield. She was determined to compete with the young Thunder King, and she would not allow him to be glorified. Her points also began to skyrocket. The 2 amazing geniuses opened the strongest battlefield, bearing the joint suppression of all the cultivators on the battlefield. Without monstrous battle power, who could withstand it? What the hell happened? In the 9th battle zone, a large number of creatures did not dare to step into the strongest battlefield world. The remaining cultivators were frightened. The energy waves emitted by the 9th battle zone became more and more shocking, forming a vast blue sea. What the hell is going on? Who is it? Could it be that some kind of powerful formation has been activated? They shouted in fear, and the momentum became more and more intense. The energy waves surged and spread to remote places as if they were on a pilgrimage. Some people were shocked to find that the mountain rocks were somewhat dry, as if the energy essence had been stolen. What kind of power was this? This was just too sinister, equivalent to an expert devouring the essence of heaven and earth. But why would such a ridiculous thing happen in the battlefield of saints? It didn't make sense, and they felt like something major had most likely happened. Perhaps the 9th battle zone had given birth to some incredible treasure? Not good. Inside the stellar domain prison, one young cultivator after another was startled when they sensed the overwhelming heavenly might pressing down on them. What the hell was this? These energies came from different places. How strong was the external force needed to move the sea of stars, pick the stars, and capture the moon to press down on the space prison? Could it be Su Yan? They felt that it was impossible. Could it be that what they had done had been discovered by the big shots in the outside world? But that shouldn't be the case. Even if they were discovered, what they were doing now wasn't against the rules. Crack. The starry sky prison became unstable. Layer by layer, it began to crumble, creating large black cracks. It couldn't withstand the energy storm from the outside world at all. Quick, suppress it, quick. The complexions of the 36 young powerhouses changed. They were worried that Su Yan would take this chance to escape. Once he left the 9th battle zone, everything they had done would have been for naught. They tossed out the array discs in their hands. A total of 36 array discs spun in the air, drawing in the boundless strength of the starry sky. They wanted to provide a powerful backup for the starry sky prison. But then, they were left completely dumbfounded. The starry sky withered away, as if it had been sucked dry. The sun and moon in the skies fell into eternal silence. The array discs in their hands weren't able to draw in the slightest bit of energy. In their eyes, Su Yan was the same as before, exactly the same as before. But they weren't aware of the changes occurring within Su Yan's inner world. It was like the strongest Tao sound in the heavens was rumbling. Endless mighty strength gushed out, turning into trillions of hands that grasped the starry sky of the universe. The great universe shook. The strength of the body preservation technique evolved into a mighty strength that stole from the world. This is the 3rd level of the body preservation technique. Su Yan opened his eyes. He seemed to be sitting cross-legged here, but in truth, he really possessed countless giant hands that were probing into the depths of the ancient universe, seizing the essence of the world. Su Yan's aura reached the heavens, drawing in the boundless energy to spread out. It was as if all the energy was about to converge on his body, possessing incomparable strength. How terrifying! Su Yan was speechless. This was a special ability, a special Tao art that could steal the treasures of the heavens. It circulated and crushed the starry sky prison. Moreover, the boundless energy scattered down, drowning Su Yan. It was as if he was in the mother's womb, stealing the essence of the ancient universe and gradually growing. Monstrous, too monstrous. Su Yan's blood surged. This was the power of the 3rd level of the body preservation technique. Stealing the essence of the world was equivalent to seizing the fortune of the heavens and earth. The stronger he cultivated the 3rd level, the faster his speed of stealing would be. No wonder the prehistoric Big Brother could accelerate the ripening of the reincarnation medicine. So it was because he had stolen the origin of the world and used it to nurture the reincarnation medicine. In fact, Su Yan even felt that the 3rd level of the body preservation technique he had come into contact with was merely the tip of the iceberg. In that case, how much energy could this secret art steal at its peak? Could it be that it could even steal the energy of the immortal world? Su Yan felt that it was hard to believe. This secret art had reached the peak of perfection. What kind of existence had created it? He felt that this secret art should be called the heaven-stealing technique. Su Yan, where do you think you're escaping to? The 36 experts swooped down, each of them absorbing the energy essence that Su Yan had stolen. They were all shocked and moved. What exactly was this formation? However, they weren't in the mood to think about this right now. They all rushed toward the figure sitting cross-legged in the center. A cold light flashed in Su Yan's eyes as he stared at the group of experts who were rushing over. The 36 experts didn't dare to be careless. After all, Su Yan had killed Xian Jing. This person's battle prowess wasn't to be underestimated. However, these people had powerful backgrounds and weren't to be trifled with. They all took out their killing weapons, preventing Su Yan from escaping. Su Yan, you won't be able to escape. A woman stepped out, pointing at him as she shouted, "Wait here quietly. After Little Thunder completes the challenge of the strongest battlefield, he will come to kill you. Don't even think about escaping." Someone wants your life. You won't be able to escape. Another man with eyes like golden lamps said coldly. He also took out a large seal, which scattered down symbols of the Great Tao, covering this area and preventing Su Yan from escaping the 9th battle zone. Su Yan's eyes were like lightning as he surveyed the young cultivators. He didn't recognize any of them. When he noticed a middle-aged man behind the 36 experts, Su Yan smiled. Heroic King, long time no see. You can still smile at a time like this. Heroic King said coldly. Su Yan, you won't be able to escape. I will make you kneel down like a dog and beg me to spare you. The Xian people had paid such a great price, and their ultimate goal was naturally to suppress and take away Su Yan. Little Thunder was only a candidate to suppress Su Yan. The Xian people would naturally give Little Thunder some benefit. Ha 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 ha, Su Yan raised his head and laughed loudly. His black hair danced wildly, and the aura of an expert he exuded soared endlessly. This was a great might that could swallow the universe. He rushed into the sky and looked down on the world. Suddenly, Su Yan was the only one here fighting alone. However, at this moment, Su Yan was shockingly powerful. He exuded a terrifying sharpness, and even the great killing weapons in the sky couldn't suppress his aura. He rushed into the sky. Suppress him! A series of experts roared and captured Su Yan's strength. Dozens of great killing weapons came to life. There was a divine umbrella that covered the sun, a huge thunderhammer, a shiny divine saber. These were all divine weapons, and they were extremely powerful. The monarch battlefield didn't allow emperor weapons, but divine weapons were allowed to unleash their power. The power of the divine weapons filled the sky and started to suppress Su Yan. Boom! The void exploded, and the area turned into a huge black hole. The destructive power directly swallowed Su Yan. Heroic King's expression changed drastically. Su Yan didn't stop them and let the divine weapons kill him. Could it be that he had guessed wrongly? Su Yan's original body had already escaped, and he left an avatar to buy time? Boom! The next moment, the world rumbled, and the sound of metal striking could be heard. It was as if a divine weapon was being tempered by a divine weapon. You, Heroic King pointed at Su Yan and trembled. His eyes were wide open in anger. What did he see? One after another, the great killing weapons smashed down and suppressed Su Yan's flesh shell. Su Yan's body was like an indestructible weapon. It was too terrifying and hard. His body didn't move at all despite the attacks of these weapons. Impossible! Some young experts' eyes were about to pop out. How could it be so ridiculous? So many divine weapons smashed down, but Su Yan couldn't even move. What kind of freak was this? Was he a metal life form? My weapon! Some people shouted in horror. They found that a heavenly saber had broken Su Yan's neck. Was he still human? They were all trembling. A trace of fear rose from their hearts and spread throughout their bodies. Even their souls seemed to be trembling. What kind of body was this? How could it be so freakish? When the series of weapons finished attacking, Su Yan's aura suddenly erupted. Boom! Divine light filled the sky, drowning the mountains and the earth. Wave after wave of energy that was more turbulent than the ocean, surging and surging, more terrifying than mountains collapsing and seas splitting. The instant they charged forward, the young saints trembled one after another, and some even fell to the ground. Su Yan was swinging his fist. The stars in the sky were trembling. How terrifying was this aura! Even heaven and earth couldn't conceal it. It could be said that a peerless great saint had made a move. Its speed was similarly frightening, and it was also like a great sun that had soared up in the darkness. A single fist had blasted apart a young expert. Boom! Su Yan raised his hands and feet. Extremely grand fluctuations rose from behind him. He activated the power of a Daesong and killed the enemies in front of him. One after another, the young experts trembled. Their bodies collapsed. They couldn't suppress the killing energy that burst out of Su Yan's body at all. They were terrified. What kind of ferocious person was this? Although they came from the monarch race, they were all outer sect disciples. They didn't have monarch blood in their bodies, nor did they have any powerful trump cards. In short, Su Yan swallowed 1,000,000 miles. He killed one person with every step he took. Su Yan, who was at the peak of the Saint Realm, was too powerful. He dominated the heavens and earth. His vast and ferocious aura shot out in all directions. He tore the void apart and beat the enemies into despair. They couldn't resist Su Yan's divine might. Heroic martial king, where do you think you're going? Su Yan shouted coldly. Waves gushed out of his mouth and nose and danced in the sky. With a boom, he crushed several enemies in front of him. The terrifying and boundless waves pressed down on heroic martial king. Chapter 1846. Ripples swept across the sky, and everything within 1,000 miles was reduced to ashes. Even the mountains in the distance cracked open on their own. Rocks rolled and pierced through the clouds, shaking the clouds. Looking from afar, in the world of sage's blood, a bloody light surged. A tall and blurry figure, like an overlord who split open the sky, erupted with invincible combat strength and swallowed the stars. Su Yan's black hair danced in the wind, and his majesty was terrifying. Fresh blood dripped everywhere, and it was a ghastly sight. It was like pulling weeds. A large number of young sages were killed by Su Yan. With a roar, the mountains and rivers collapsed, and the ground was filled with dense black cracks, accompanied by a rain of blood. Su Yan's roar shattered some people's bodies, and their primordial spirits were riddled with holes. The scene was too horrible to look at. Only a few of the stronger ones who survived were terrified, and their eyes were filled with fear. They pointed at Su Yan and said in a trembling voice, "You can also activate Daesong's combat strength. You can also activate Daesong's combat strength." It was as if they were possessed, and they were about to go crazy with their roars. There were many divine transcendents in the deity's cave, but it was too rare for sages to activate Daesong's combat strength. After all, the realm was completely different, and these people were more powerful than the invincible god of war of their generation. They even felt that Su Yan was even more extraordinary and abnormal than Little Thunder. He was a living Daesong god of war, looking down on the sea, dominating the world, and being the only one who reigned supreme. This was a peerless genius who belonged to the deity's cave. Su Yan had hidden his strength so deeply that he could sweep through everything in the battlefield of sages. King Valiant howled in despair. He had never been so terrified, and even strangely angry. Su Yan was much more terrifying than when he was in the deity's sect. Although King Valiant was a Daesong expert who was used to big scenes, he knew better than anyone how much influence a sage who activated Daesong's combat strength had. Now, he didn't even have any hope of escaping the battlefield. Heaven and earth were suppressed, and the teleportation token was useless. Su Yan strode over, killing intent shooting out from his eyes. He walked over step by step, and as he did so, heaven and earth trembled. The sun and moon wailed, and all kinds of terrifying energies flowed in this broken world. Bang bang! The experts who were struggling at death's door trembled as their bodies exploded. Broken bones and blood filled the air. Su Yan's clothes were not stained with blood. He looked like an immortal walking in purgatory as he crossed the shattered battlefield. The heroic martial king was trembling all over. Su Yan's aura was too frightening. It was like the breath of an archaic azure dragon. Even the heaven and earth were beneath his feet. Each of his steps was like thunder, causing the heroic martial king's heart to feel uncomfortable. He coughed out blood continuously. His hair was disheveled, and he was greeted by a large foot. The heroic king angrily roared. He wanted to get up and fight Su Yan, but he couldn't. His entire body was suppressed. He could only watch as Su Yan's foot firmly stepped on his face. He let out a miserable cry. It was a great humiliation to be stepped on by someone's foot. It was even more humiliating than when Su Yan beat him up. However, he was powerless to resist. He roared, kill me if you can. Let me tell you, Su Yen, you are no match for Little Thunder. He is the brother of the Tenrai of Beach. Do you know who the Tenrai of Beach is? Kill you? You are thinking too much. Su Yan's expression was cold. Layers of law patterns grew out from his feet and covered the heroic martial king's body. The heroic martial king's body trembled. His eyes were filled with madness. He wanted to detonate his body and shatter his life source. He chose to commit suicide. He couldn't leave any evidence for Su Yen to use against him. However, the energy substance that came from Su Yan's feet was too overbearing. It locked his body and mind, and even his primordial spirit was no exception. He couldn't move at all. Don't waste your energy. In front of me, you can't die even if you want to. Su Yan's expression was extremely cold. He guessed that the Xian people had bribed the third elder to trap him. What are you doing? The heroic martial king's heart was filled with fear. Su Yan didn't choose to kill him to vent his anger. Instead, he chose to seal him. I naturally have a use for you. Do you think I can't see that this isn't his true body? Su Yan's voice was like a demonic voice from hell. It made the heroic martial king cry out in despair. His avatar participated in the battle, but his true body was a Daesong. Once it was discovered, it would be a capital offense. It's useless. You can't defeat Little Thunder. The heroic martial king laughed maniacally. He still had a glimmer of hope in his heart. As long as Su Yen stayed in the 9th battlefield forever, no one would be able to find out anything about him. Little Thunder, he must die too. Su Yan's eyes flashed coldly. He had already spied on the strongest battlefield in the distance. He took large strides forward, his blood boiling with rage. This is crazy. Little Thunder's points are about to skyrocket to 5,000. The outside world was in an uproar. The strongest battlefield had already reached its climax. However, in the face of the sages who were attacking from all directions, Little Thunder's strength was at its peak. Once the vague Daesong's combat power was used, he could kill gods and Buddhas. He's getting stronger and stronger. I feel that the Daesong's combat power is getting stronger and stronger. As expected of the core genius of the Immortal Cave. Is he the next Tenrai of Beach? The outside world was in heated discussion. Fairy Zishia's points were now more than 4,000, but Little Thunder's points were approaching 5,000. Everyone could even see that Little Thunder was getting stronger as he fought. The divine power that had been accumulating in his body for a long time exploded, stimulating his strength. He was already glorious enough, but he could still continue to grow stronger. It had to be said that this caused a huge earthquake. Immortal Desert and the others laughed heartily. However, their smiles didn't last long. They discovered that Su Yan's name had appeared on the 9th Battle Zone's ranking list. Heavens, Su Yan is also in the 9th Battle Zone. Xiongba was stunned. What was going on? Where had Su Yan been these days? Why did he only have 36 points? It can't be right? A peerless genius who killed immortal scenery is ranked 398th in the 9th Battle Zone? This person is really unlucky. He's in the same battle zone as Little Thunder. Do you think Su Yan has the guts to go to the strongest battlefield? Many people were petrified. This scene was a bit strange. This ranking was too low. Even if some geniuses whose names surpassed Su Yan's were eliminated, their points were still there. Even if some of the top 3 experts were eliminated early, as long as their points were still there and their ranking was still there, they wouldn't be eliminated. They could enter the Land of Fortune to further their studies. Immortal Desert's face was gloomy. Wasn't Su Yan suppressed? In the outside world, heroic Martial King's main body was also gloomy. How did Su Yan break out of the killing trap? Unfortunately, his clone couldn't communicate with his main body. He didn't know what had happened in the world where Su Yan was suppressed. Heroic Martial King's heart was a bit flustered, but he quickly calmed down. Little Thunder was getting stronger and stronger. No matter how heaven-defying Su Yen was, he couldn't defeat Little Thunder. He couldn't defeat the core genius of the immortal cave. Kiki, this evil creature, only has a pitiful 36 point. In the depths of the immortal's official residence, a ruler with a declining aura was hiding in a secret chamber. He said coldly, I'm really looking forward to it more and more. When Su Yen falls into the hands of my race, his expression will definitely be exceptionally interesting when he sees me. King Immortal Martial King drank his wine and laughed heartily. He had never been so happy in the past 10 years. Back then, he was severely injured by his Tao protector and almost lost his life. After 10 years of recuperation, he still hadn't fully recovered. However, what King Immortal Martial King didn't know was that in the number 1 battlefield of the immortal world, Xiongli had gathered a group of experienced soldiers and set up an inescapable net to capture King Immortal Martial's clone. There's someone ahead. A group of cultivators marched towards the destination, preparing to explore. The changes caused by the cultivation of the Stealing Heaven technique were too great. Some people even felt that this battlefield had given birth to some supreme treasure. This was a small group. More than 10 Sage Realm cultivators, led by a divine steed with purple light. It was surrounded by purple flames, and the roar of a Qilin could be vaguely heard from its body. This was a heavenly Qilin horse, with a thin Qilin bloodline flowing in its body. It was extremely powerful. Suppress! The heavenly Qilin horse shouted coldly. Maybe this kid knows something. Don't let him escape. Kill! More than 10 Sage Realm cultivators rushed over. They were all under the command of the heavenly Qilin horse. Killing intent surged between heaven and earth. Amidst the rumbling sounds of killing, one expert after another charged towards Su Yen, suppressing the heavens, the earth, the rivers and the mountains. Su Yan's long black hair and black clothes fluttered in the wind. His steps were steady as he walked between the mountains. This person. The heavenly Qilin horse's face darkened as it stared at Su Yen. It felt that something was wrong. As expected, the heavenly Qilin horse's scalp went numb and it jumped in fright. It was as if a prehistoric monster was awakening. The figure in front of them exuded endless pressure that wanted to imprison their primordial spirits and grind away the vitality in their bodies. No, the cultivators cried out in despair. What kind of monster was this? They couldn't see Su Yen clearly at all. They only felt that the most powerful god of war was enraged and wanted to crush their lives. Daesong! The heavenly Qilin horse's scalp went numb. It turned around and ran. Its 4 hooves rumbled as it stomped on the void. It turned into a purple torrent and rushed towards the horizon. Bam, bam, bam. This group of cultivators who were targeting Su Yen were all sent flying. If not for Su Yen suppressing the heavenly Qilin horse, they wouldn't have survived. The protective amulet brought them out of the 3rd battlefield. At the same time, Su Yan's points skyrocketed. These people had quite a lot of points. Of course, the most important thing was the heavenly Qilin horse. Its body and mind were torn apart as it fled. It looked up and saw that the sky had darkened. Great Devil, the heavenly Qilin horse was terrified. A devil king had descended and looked down upon the world. It was also very decisive. It crushed the amulet and wanted to escape the 9th battlefield. However, the heavenly Qilin horse had no hope at all. This world had been suppressed and confined. Roar! The heavenly Qilin horse roared. Its eyes were red and it was about to explode. It was also a battle-hardened cultivator. However, Su Yen was riding on its back. It resisted fiercely. Its body shone with divine light, and the image of a Qilin appeared behind it. It had mastered a peerless capacity to resist Su Yan's suppression. It seemed like it would rather die than submit. Boom! Su Yan's aura surged. Peerless energy spread and shattered the Qilin's capacity. His body covered the heavenly Qilin horse's body like an ancient universe. Hiss! The heavenly Qilin horse cried out in pain. Its body was about to crumble. Su Yan's aura was too powerful. He was like a great devil god who ruled over the world. This unrivaled aura was accompanied by the chanting of sutras. It was as if a young celestial emperor was subduing demons. The heavenly Qilin horse was placed in the ancient universe and was enduring the suppression of an immeasurable calamity. Gradually, the heavenly Qilin horse calmed down. Its body was exceptionally tall, and the purple scales covering its body were sparkling and translucent. An auspicious aura flowed around it, and a purple divine flame burned at its tail. The heavenly Qilin horse rose from the ground and roared at the sky. It was extraordinarily majestic. It had turned into Su Yan's mount. If others saw this, they would probably be scared half to death. The heavenly Qilin horse had been subdued by Su Yan. In terms of time, it had only taken a few breaths. Thump, thump, thump. In the next moment, the sound of hooves thundered between heaven and earth. The heavens and earth trembled along the way, and its injuries became more and more spectacular. The heavenly Qilin horse galloped with Su Yan on its back and charged into the most powerful battlefield. Chapter 1847. Look at the 9th Battle Zone's point list. What's going on? Su Yan's points are skyrocketing. He's already reached the top 100. No, his points are exploding again. Oh my god, he's suddenly reached the top 50. The outside world was in chaos because Little Thunder's points were currently the highest in the Saint battlefield. The experts of various races were all paying attention to the 9th battle zone. Some people felt that Little Thunder was most likely going to break through the strongest battlefield. Moreover, the revived Daesung's battle strength was becoming more and more shocking. If he broke through the strongest battlefield, then once Little Thunder entered the Land of Fortune and was bestowed king, he would have a glimmer of hope to directly enter the ranks of the strongest kings. He would be bestowed with the heavens. The heavens were nobles, heavenly kings, peak existences among experts, peerless characters who looked down on the world. Of course, there was only a glimmer of hope. In the past, there were many who broke through the strongest battlefield and were bestowed the heavens title. It was quite difficult. Once this happened, Little Thunder's status would be even more honorable. The immortal cave would give him powerful resources to cultivate. It seemed that in the future, the immortal cave was destined to produce a peerless genius. However, many people were astonished. Su Yan, who had been silent for so many days, had erupted continuously. In less than half a day, his points had skyrocketed. The speed was too fast, and he was about to enter the top 30. Who can tell me what he's doing? Why is his points skyrocketing so fast? The outside world was in heated discussion, and even more people were looking forward to it. Would Su Yan kill his way to the strongest battlefield? But after thinking about it, they shook their heads. This should not be possible. Little Thunder had activated Daesung's battle strength. Who could compete with him? Su Yan would not be so stupid as to throw his life away. He probably wanted to accumulate a batch of points and withdraw from the 9th battle zone. There was no other way. When two peerless geniuses met, they were destined to fight to the death. Some people felt that Su Yan's luck was not good. He just had to be assigned to the same battlefield as Little Thunder. This is big trouble. That bastard heroic martial king, didn't he say that he had suppressed Su Yan? Why did he escape? Imperial City's third elder smiled bitterly, a chill surging in his heart. Once Su Yan escaped from the battle, it would not be a small matter. After all, he had been suppressed for so many days and could very well be a threat to himself. What is he doing? The third elder's expression was extremely ugly. He did not have the authority to observe the 9th battlefield, so he could only observe the strongest battlefield. But now, Su Yan's points continued to rise. Just how many cultivators had he defeated? He was about to enter the top 10. It hadn't even been a day. Wasn't the explosive increase in his points a little too frightening? At this time, a large number of losers were teleported out from the great rift in the starry sky. Many of the losers still hadn't come back to their senses and were still in shock. They didn't know what kind of enemy they encountered just now, but they only felt their bodies trembling as if they were about to die. If not for the teleportation token that wrapped them up and moved them out, they really would have died. You didn't see him clearly? How strong is Su Yan's battle strength? Several old emperors were shocked. The losers of the 9th battle zone didn't see who the enemy was. They only saw a mysterious overlord riding a celestial Qilin horse, Slaughter, his way over, sweeping through the world. He was far too powerful and transcendent. You said that the enemy we encountered was Su Yan? These losers were terrified. They looked at each other, but there was no anger in their eyes. Instead, there was joy. This was because they had nearly died. Their intuition told them that Su Yan had absolute combat strength to slaughter them. But Su Yan didn't kill them and only threw them out. The immortal desert and the others had ugly expressions. Little Thunder's limelight was about to be stolen by Su Yan. There was nothing they could do about it. Su Yan's eruption was too frightening. In an entire day, his points had soared by 1,000. Wasn't this too abnormal? Who is it? In the 9th battle zone, Su Yan was already infinitely close to the strongest battlefield. The battlefield was too large and vast. It was like an ancient battlefield in space. The atmosphere was icy cold and the smell of blood billowed. A vast aura was transmitted from afar. It was like the collapse of the starry sky and shook the souls of people. The heroes were shocked. They stood here and observed the bloody battle of the strongest battlefield. They watched as Little Thunder used the power of Daesong to sweep through the strongest battlefield. How terrifying! Many of the top 100 experts were shocked. The silhouette of the celestial Qilin horse was extremely tyrannical. The celestial Qilin horse soared through the sky, its large hooves trampling on the void, leaving behind a purple flame as it traversed the blue dome of heaven. The figure sitting on the back of the celestial Qilin horse was like an immemorial star charging over. Before the person closed in, a formless energy field was emitted. In an instant, countless mountains were annihilated. The boundless earth trembled and cracked, forming a huge fissure. "Run, quick!" they cried out in fear. The expert charging over was too frightening. It was like a god of war had descended. His divine courage was unstoppable. Roar! The celestial Qilin horse's roar shook the sky. It had never been so happy before. It roared excitedly, its ferocious aura billowing. It charged forward violently. It felt like it was going to be invincible under the heavens and achieve meteoric success. Wherever it passed, heroes were sent flying. The sun sank and the moon fell. Heaven and earth exploded. It was like a tyrant descending from the heavens and earth. Moreover, the figure sitting on its back had a vast and mighty aura that could swallow the universe. It charged straight for the strongest trial ground. The celestial Qilin horse was even more agitated. This ferocious person was going to charge into the strongest trial ground. Was he going to compete with Little Thunder for supremacy? The celestial Qilin horse felt that it would be contented to be able to participate in the battle between the most terrifying geniuses. It's Su Yan. It's him. This person is so scary. I can't see through him. Could it be that he also possesses the power of Daesong? Some of the cultivators in the distance cried out in fear. A terrifying god or devil descending from the heavens with a monstrous divine might. Dozens of Sage Realm experts trembled in the air and were sent flying. They were eliminated immediately. How powerful and invincible was he? Dozens of Sage Realm experts were sent flying out of the trial ground before they could even see Su Yan's face clearly. They were eliminated. Thump, 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 the celestial Qilin horse's steps were like thunder. The ground far away was riddled with holes, forming a scene of great destruction. It was a great shock to the hearts of the people. He's in 4th place. That's too fast. It's only been a short while. The outside world was in an uproar. Su Yan's points skyrocketed. After all, almost all of the eliminated people had accumulated a lot of points. Every time Su Yen eliminated someone, his points would skyrocket. The eliminated people in the 9th battle zone were all ashen-faced. They didn't expect to encounter a peerless ferocious being descending from the heavens while they were watching the battle from afar. Wasn't the disparity in strength a little too great? What did you say? Su Yen is charging straight for the strongest battlefield. Some of the Xian people's experts' faces suddenly darkened. Where did he get the confidence to do that? He dared to challenge Little Thunder, who had the battle strength of a Daesong. Could it be that Su Yen also had the battle strength of a Daesong? Xian Mo's face was also a little ugly. He didn't believe that Su Yen could defeat Little Thunder. Although he admitted that Little Thunder wasn't as strong as the Tenrai of Beach, this person was getting stronger and stronger. He was about to reach the Daesong realm. Could Su Yen compete with this powerful young god of war? Finally, there's a good show to watch. The strongest battle in the Sage battlefield this time is between Su Yen and Little Thunder. Xiongba laughed. He thought that this kid was showing off his might and surprising everyone at the crucial moment. Mu Xian was shocked. It seemed that she hadn't seen Su Yan's true strength yet. Her clear and bright eyes flashed with anticipation. If Su Yen was really qualified to compete with Little Thunder, what kind of concept was that? He would be directly absorbed into the core area of the Fey Cave and become a famous peerless genius with boundless glory. However, Xiongba felt that Su Yen wouldn't go to the core area of the Fey Cave. After all, once he went, he wouldn't be able to return. It was the same for the Protector back then. He had the qualifications to be absorbed into the core area of the Fey Cave, but the Protector directly rejected him. The probability of this happening was very low, but anyone who rejected the Fey Cave was naturally a peerless genius with great future achievements. In the strongest trial ground, the bloody battle was monstrous. The sky was filled with killing weapons, and all kinds of magical light bloomed. All the sages joined forces and circulated enough power to suppress Little Thunder. If they couldn't keep him in check, Little Thunder would pass the strongest test. Then, it would be a shame for all the participants in the 9th battle zone. How could these geniuses sit still when they were all defeated by one person? They tried their best to stop Little Thunder. Ha 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 ha! Little Thunder looked up to the sky and laughed. Endless terrible thunder light appeared on his body, and a huge figure rose behind him, looking down on all living beings. This was Little Thunder's Daesong Dharma form. Although it was a little blurry, the endless thunder light that poured down indicated his peerless potential. When it erupted, it could shoot down the entire sky and kill all the sages. This little bug has broken out of the prison. Little Thunder's face darkened. When he saw Su Yen on the 9th battle zone's list, he shouted coldly, "I don't have time to waste with you. Suppress Su Yan's request. Get out of my way." His aura burst out and the thunder light surged. It was enough to destroy heaven and earth, forming a vast thunder vortex. It was as if the Daesong Heaven's punishment was brewing, and it was about to cover the entire battlefield. Boom! All of a sudden, the strongest battlefield began to rumble. Boom! A man and a horse rushed to the battlefield. The sky collapsed, and the aura was so terrible that it made people tremble. All the sages were frightened. They were originally suppressed by Little Thunder's powerful technique. But now, a man and a horse rushed to the battlefield. The golden blood chi pierced through the sky and drowned the clouds. Even the star domain was shaking. Who's there? All the heroes were terrified. They couldn't look at the figure sitting on the celestial Qilin horse. It was too bright and dazzling. It was so bright that the corners of their eyes almost couldn't open. It was like an endless burning sun. At this moment, Little Thunder's cold eyes were also focused on the figure that suddenly appeared. That figure's appearance couldn't be seen, but there was an aura that could destroy heaven and earth. It was as if a huge and majestic life force was emitting here. It was terrifying beyond compare. "Those who block me shall die," Su Yen shouted coldly. His voice shook heaven and earth, and the battlefield shook. The force that could topple mountains and overturn seas was vast and mighty. It was more serious than the collapse of a star domain. All the sages were frightened. The unstoppable divine aura came crashing down. It was completely irresistible. Groups of sages screamed and flew down like weeds. "Oh my God!" The experts below the battlefield turned pale with fright. The most powerful and domineering god and devil had descended. All the experts retreated. Su Yen had arrived. He looked down at the starry sky with a domineering aura. Roar! The celestial Qilin horse shone brightly. The blood in its body surged wildly as it roared and charged. It was like a god and devil that could split the earth. Su Yen carried the 9-colored halberd with one arm. His killing intent soared to the 9 heavens. Tch! The 9-colored halberd swept across the sky. It was as bright as snow and could easily crush the souls of the sages. A large group of sages coughed up blood and fled the battlefield frantically. They screamed in horror. What kind of ferocious person was this? He was too terrifying and invincible. 1 man and 1 horse pushed through the battlefield of the strongest. Half the sky collapsed and exploded as the sun and moon sank. It was as if the sky was going to split open. "Little Thunder, give me your life!" Su Yen roared. He swung the 9-colored halberd toward Little Thunder with peerless courage. Chapter 1848. 1 man and 1 horse charged into the battlefield. Along the way, a large number of saints were defeated. The halberd formed from millions of 9-colored sand shone with 9-colored immortal radiance, tearing a huge crack in space and time. This attack was exceptionally domineering. It charged directly at Little Thunder, who was in the midst of a massacre. It caused a huge commotion. After all, it was too sudden and decisive. The halberd split the air with peerless sharpness. Bastard! Little Thunder's divine might shook the world. Endless lightning crackled all over his body. His aura instantly became terrifying. He wielded a dazzling heavenly saber, which sprinkled down tens of thousands of saber gleams, accompanied by thick lightning bolts. Slash! Little Thunder shouted coldly. The heavenly saber glowed and surged with saber chi. It cleaved the heavens and dominated the world. This attack alone was enough to show Little Thunder's peak level. Moreover, his entire body exuded shocking combat strength. This was an invincible might that engulfed the entire battlefield and looked down on everything. The celestial Qilin horse trembled violently. Its strong body was about to shatter. It was as if it saw a supreme god of war from the lower realm amidst endless lightning. He was about to crush its blood, bones, and spirit. This person was also relatively powerful. He was comparable to a Daesong. Even the celestial Qilin horse was frightened and wanted to flee the battlefield. Kill! A loud roar exploded. The figure sitting on its back became infinitely powerful. This also provoked the celestial Qilin horse to neigh. Its fear dissipated. It was filled with fighting spirit along with Su Yen. It was fearless of any expert in the world. The 9-colored halberd shone with peerless sharpness. The dazzling heavenly saber shone with boundless lightning. The 2 weapons were revived. They represented their essence, chi, and spirit. They represented their peak combat strength and shattered everything along the way. They transformed into the most invincible strength of saints and bombarded each other. Boom! The world trembled violently. The most powerful battlefield collapsed into a huge crack. This was quite a peerless battle. The battlefield couldn't bear the weight of their battle. After all, this was a killing technique carried by weapons. Its destructive power was too extraordinary. No, the saints were in despair. They couldn't bear it at all and were sent flying. This was a humiliation. These 2 experts were too shocking, fighting until the battlefield was collapsing. Everyone turned pale. What kind of terrifying combat strength was this? Cultivators of the same generation could only tremble and smile bitterly. It was difficult to look directly at them. Slash! Young Thunder King roared as his silver hair danced wildly. No one noticed that his arms were trembling and the web between his thumb and forefinger had split open. His eyes widened in anger. This was a humiliation. A man and a horse crossed the heavens, standing above his head, wishing to directly hack him down with the great halberd. Young Lightning King roared. The heavenly saber in his hand emitted thick lightning. One after another, it was full of destructive aura. It tore apart the sky, and the stars in the sky were extinguished. Slash. Kill. Su Yan's aura became more and more shocking. The nine-colored halberd burst forth with shocking light. It was as if he had struck out one ancient universe after another and attacked Little Thunder. The two experts fought together in a pinnacle battle. Great killing weapons filled the sky. The collision of peak combat strength pierced through the universe's sea of stars. The spectators in the distance trembled. The more they fought, the stronger they became. They became more and more violent and invincible. Finally, the two experts roared. Their auras rose to the peak at the same time. Daesung's aura was blooming. Everything within 1,000,000 miles trembled violently. Daesung was howling. It was as if he was going to shake the entire ancient universe. This was without a doubt a great disaster. Many weaker saints didn't have the qualifications to watch the battle. They were sent flying. Their figures became blurry in the process. They were sent out of the 9th battle zone. Daesung. Two invincible saints. There were also geniuses from powerful races who cried out in shock. Su Yan could also activate Daesung's combat strength. This kind of person might not be born even in tens of thousands of years. But now, in the king-conferring battlefield, these two supreme geniuses were engaged in the most terrifying battle. The outside world was in an uproar, causing a huge uproar. Su Yan could also activate Daesung's combat strength. Who would dare to imagine that this young man had hidden so deeply? He only erupted with his peak combat strength at the crucial moment. He was a peerless existence who could also activate Daesung's combat strength. Xianemo clenched his fist. His face was ashen. Su Yan actually had such unparalleled potential. How did he do it? There was no information at all. It had to be known that Su Yan had only broken through Daesung's bottleneck. How many years had it been? It hadn't even been 20 years. He already had such potential. What other secrets did the human world have? Bastard! Royal City's third elder screamed in his heart. He clenched his fist. He was furious. Who could tell him why Su Yan was also a Yingjie with unparalleled potential? What should he do? Royal City's third elder's first thought was that he was in big trouble. After all, this was too much of a coincidence. Two invincible saints were arranged on the same battlefield. If Little Thunder was killed, Third Elder didn't dare to imagine what he would face. But soon, Third Elder calmed down. After all, Little Thunder came from the Immortal Cave. Then, even in the heyday of Burying Heaven Cave, it was difficult to compete with the Immortal Cave. Even Su Yan had unparalleled potential. He couldn't defeat Little Thunder. He couldn't. As long as Su Yan died, no one would know that he secretly interfered with the battlefield. So, no matter what, Su Yan must die in the 9th battle zone. "Give me your life," Little Thunder roared. Excitement flashed in his eyes, and he laughed like a madman. Slaughtering a Yingjie with unparalleled potential in the human world would be the most glorious event in the history of Little Thunder's growth. Slash again. The heavenly blade swept across the sky like a calamity blade that crushed purgatory. It became brighter and more dazzling. It was also like a catastrophe that came down from the sky. The final slash seemed to be tens of thousands of feet long, filling all the space and time. This attack was shocking. It was turbulent and domineering. It was full of destructive power and slashed toward Su Yan. Boom! Heaven and earth were separated. The heavenly blade was huge. The void trembled like a piece of paper. This attack was particularly shocking and even a little crazy. The huge battlefield was split open and turned into a big black hole. Then, endless thunder and lightning poured down, one after another. Each of them was like a cloud in the sky. What kind of combat power was this? The spectators in the distant world had goosebumps. Was this still a saint? This combat power was destructive and beyond their knowledge. This was the peerless genius of the immortal cave, a core member. The supreme attack slashed down. Some people felt that it was enough to turn Su Yan into mud. This blade chi was too magnificent and majestic. What is that? Someone shouted in horror. Su Yan's movements were too fast and fierce. They couldn't see clearly at all. Every time the nine-colored halberd in his hand trembled, the star field would tremble, and the stars in the sky would wail. It was as if the entire world was being pressed down by him. Fast, too fast. Su Yan's movements were extremely fast and violent. The nine-colored halberd vibrated frequently. It was as if an endless ancient universe was sputtering out between heaven and earth, turning into a universal halberd. Boom! Su Yan used the scripture of the universe as a foundation to evolve a killing technique. The halberd split the sky and shattered the lightning in the sky. Slash! Little thunder roared. The huge heavenly blade swept across the sky and slashed at the incoming halberd shadow. Boundless blade chi bloomed. Destructive lightning surged wildly, shattering the endless power of the killing order in the sky. At the moment when everything was about to explode, an extremely powerful and domineering divine aura bloomed, suppressing the universe. A man and a horse charged over. It was as if 100,000 heavenly soldiers had descended to the mortal world. Their killing intent was surging, and their divine bravery was unstoppable. Kill! Su Yan's roar shattered the sky and dominated the world. The halberd swept across the sky and suddenly turned into millions of cosmic stars. They rumbled and rotated. His aura also went berserk, shattering heaven and earth and collapsing the universe. His aura was boundless and terrifying. Hum! The huge heavenly blade wailed. The lightning covering the blade cracked. This was a golden heavenly blade. It was unknown what material it was made of. It was indestructible. Although it was trembling, there were no cracks. Moreover, it was faintly burning with unparalleled potential. It must be the rough embryo of a supreme treasure. Boom! Millions of cosmic stars fell in unison. One could only imagine how magnificent the scene was. Little Thunder's body trembled violently. He was facing such terrifying pressure that he could hardly breathe. That was because the pressure this weapon was exerting on him was, in fact, the radiance of chi and blood from Su Yan's pores. It brought about an unparalleled pressure that made Little Thunder feel suffocated and uncomfortable. Blood was flowing out of every pore on his body. He was about to be crushed. The celestial unicorn horse roared madly as it devoured the chi and blood from Little Thunder's body. It felt as if it had reached the pinnacle of glory. Heavens, Little Thunder can't take it anymore. He can't take it anymore. Is he going to be defeated? The outside world was in an uproar. The scene was shocking. Little Thunder's body staggered as blood flowed from his mouth and nose. He was under great pressure. Even Daesung's combat strength could not take it anymore. He was on the verge of exploding. Little Thunder, hand over your life! The celestial unicorn horse roared. Su Yan, who was bearing the weight of the celestial unicorn horse, had become even more terrifying. He was like a human emperor revered by the heavens and earth. His life aura was as grand as a burning immortal furnace. Essence blood gushed out from his head and transformed into a divine dragon that traversed the sea of stars. During this process, Little Thunder also went berserk. His combat strength recovered, and he was able to contend against Su Yan's ferocious might. However, it was useless. Little Thunder could not withstand Su Yan's supreme suppression. His body trembled violently and was on the verge of exploding. "Who are you?" Little Thunder roared angrily. The figure in his eyes was truly intimidating. Su Yan's black hair danced in the wind. His essence energy soared into the heavens and traversed the star domain. His physical body was comparable to Daesung's. He was too outstanding, and who could contend against him? This was almost a great disaster. Su Yan's aura had completely awakened and swept through all directions. Groups of spectators trembled from head to toe as they felt an enormous pressure bearing down on their bodies. They were unable to withstand it and were sent flying. They spat out large mouthfuls of blood and felt dizzy. How can he be so terrifying? What kind of monster is this? Some soldiers cried out miserably. What kind of constitution does he have? This is too ridiculous. It seems like he wants to hammer Little Thunder to death. Everyone was trembling. Su Yan's aura was too frightening. 10,000 bodies resonated and boundless light shone. It was as if they corresponded to the supreme order of the great Tao and evolved into a universe scripture. It was majestic and grand as it suppressed the entire battlefield. You want to crush me? You're too insolent. Little Thunder was infuriated. His ancient constitution also recovered and emitted a thick and ancient lightning splendor. Su Yan's expression was cold. His fist exhaled air and simply gushed out 10,000 layers of the ancient universe. It rumbled as it rotated and turned into a matchless fist imprint. Myriad world fist. Su Yan's scattered hair danced in the wind. The matchless fist imprint recovered and collapsed the ancient lightning splendor that filled the sky. Even the most powerful battlefield was struck, and the energy ripples that sputtered out split the starry skies. This fist was actually terrifying beyond compare.